Millions watching the interview between billionaires. CJ Papa, Fox News. The big event on X sputtered at the start, but once it got going, the former commander-in-chief didn't stop talking. Fox's Hillary Vaughn on Capitol Hill.
Former President Trump took questions from X founder Elon Musk for over 2 hours, discussing a range of topics on top of mind for voters, from inflation to immigration. Trump attacking Harris for promising to fix the border when she could fix it now as vice president, and for promising to lower prices and tackle inflation when she helped create the problem by pushing through trillions in new government spending.
Now, 23 days and counting for Vice President Harris. Hasn't given a solo interview to a reporter or delivered a press conference. Is becoming the Democratic frontrunner and now the nominee for the Oval Office when President Biden dropped out. But that could change.
Vice President Harris and her new running mate are spending millions of dollars on TV ads trying to introduce themselves to voters. But they're not taking questions from reporters or even really unveiling their policy ideas at this point. Harris says she will do a formal interview within the next coming days, but her campaign says there's a reason she's not doing press conferences. The New York Times is quoting some Harris aides who say aides argue that in a fractured media landscape where trust in traditional news outlets has fallen, their most effective voter outreach comes from alternative venues like TikTok and their own social media platforms.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House, a new leader for a coffee giant.
Starbucks has a new chief executive. It is Brian Niccol, currently chief executive of Chipotle Mexican Grill. Niccol is an industry veteran and formerly was head of Taco Bell. Niccol has been Chipotle's CEO and chairman since 2020. He'll leave his current position at the end of the month.
Fox's Jenny Casola reporting, and Fox's special report will air Brett Baer's exclusive interview with former 2024 Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley. It airs at 6 p.m. Eastern. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly sunny skies, and I think temps should peak out at about 81 this afternoon. But let's keep an eye out for a couple of spotty thunderstorms. Tonight, lots of clouds, 70s for evening plans, 68 for the low. On Wednesday, morning showers and thunderstorms scattered about, otherwise partly sunny, and 83. 88 Thursday and Friday, and still a little bit on the unsettled side. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you find them online at retirementkey.com. Have you reached out to them yet? When you go to retirementkey.com, you're going to learn more about Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig. These people who, through this family-owned and operated business, are helping your family get into retirement with confidence, making sure that everything that you have worked hard for is going to pay off when you do make that transition. And the transition is what the Retirement Advisory Group specializes in. If you call 314-993-9494, that's 314-993-9494, you can schedule a free sit-down. So find a mutually agreeable time and sit down at no cost to you and no obligation when you walk out the door to see if the Retirement Advisory Group is the right group to help you make the move. You've worked your butt off, you've saved, you've sacrificed, and retirement is right around the corner. Make the smart phone call, 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
It is so hot. I mean, it's expected here at times, especially this time of year in St. Louis. But man, and when it gets this hot, I've heard the egg farmers are having a serious problem. That's just what I heard. Again, it might be true, it might not. It sounds like it sounds like it probably is true that the chicken farmers are having trouble having the eggs because it's so hot. When the chickens lay the egg, it becomes a baby chick. That's hot. So I can only imagine what it is in your house Well, I don't have to imagine. I've been in your houses when your air conditioner is not working or when it breaks. So if yours is broken or it's not cooling really good, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is a Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is Megan Lynch from the KMOX Newsroom, inviting you to donate blood with the American Red Cross at the KMOX Blood Drives in memory of my colleague Brett Bloom. Get your blood flowing and be part of a life-saving team this summer. Join us Thursday, August 22nd from 2 to 7 p.m. at several locations near you. Come give blood for a $20 Amazon.com gift card by email. To schedule your appointment, visit redcrossblood.org and use sponsor code KMOX. Thank you.
Save money on your next oil change with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get a $10 gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $35.95. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
And, who knows, but Joe Biden lost Texas by only 5.5 points in 2020. It's been moving faster into the blue column than any other battleground state. Anything, I think, is possible in this year. And with the energy that those two are bringing to this ticket, I think that Texas could possibly be in play.
All right. Beto O'Rourke scaring everybody, saying Texas is in play. Nobody. Beto, get back on your. He needs to be a bar dancer. He likes to crawl on top of those bars and shout to the rooftops. What has Beto O'Rourke successfully done? He's run for Congress. He won and served in Congress and did virtually nothing, and then was like, I think that I should be governor or president. This is what Beto O'Rourke has done. And now he's saying that the excitement surrounding Harris and Walz is going to make Texas be in play. Texas is not in play. I hope I don't need those words later. Everything is pushing you into fear and anxiety surrounding this election cycle. And a lot of it, every day, the conclusion that I have about the direction of this campaign and how you and I are tied into it is watching the media lie. That's the thing. That's the line that makes people go nuts. Watching the hypocrisy come out of the media, that's what makes people crazy, because it's not about whether you believe X policy or Y policy, red policy or blue policy. That has nothing to do with it. So much so that the Harris-Walz campaign doesn't even have policies on their website, and we're told that they don't have policies on their website because they're really busy right now. That's really what it comes down to. Policies are not the priority. It's this from Eric Swalwell.
Why hasn't Kamala Harris laid out her policy agenda? I mean, it's not even on her campaign's website.
So she's doing that this week. She's talking, particularly about her economic message. She's also, been going across the country, filling arenas and talking about what she's going to do on the rights that were robbed for women when Roe was taken away. The border crisis that she's going to solve, that her economic policy won't benefit billionaires, but it will benefit hardworking Americans.
Then when Roe was taken away, I can't get over this. When Roe was taken away, as if Donald Trump himself took it away. Yeah, he appointed people to the Supreme Court, and they ruled based on the Constitution. And what you won't ever hear Eric Swalwell say is the amount of times that Amy Coney Barrett has ruled in favor of the Constitution and her interpretation and against what Republicans want to have come out of the Supreme Court. We've seen this with Kavanaugh as well. We've definitely seen it with the Chief Justice. It's not the case that Donald Trump single-handedly ended abortion. And I say this as somebody who lives in the state of Illinois, where abortion is accessible and our number one tourist attraction, if you ask the governor of the state of Illinois. He wants to be a destination in this country for people who are seeking abortions, so much so that you could have them when you're underage and not even have to tell a parent. That's a priority of the state of Illinois. That's what they are looking to do, and it's pretty reprehensible. When you hear Eric Swalwell say to CNN that Kamala hasn't put her policies out there because she's been traveling the country filling arenas, I have a suggestion for you. Before you travel the country and fill arenas, tell us what your policies are on a website, because that's what matters for people who are voting. Now, maybe that's not what we are trying to make matter for people. Maybe what we're actually trying to do is create a scenario where we are just simply trying to get people emotionally worked up, drummed up, so that they vote strictly on emotion and fear because they can't handle the situation should Donald Trump become the president of the United States. That's essentially what Swalwell is saying, is that the policies, they're not a main priority. Imagine that. A situation where you've got the president, the hopeful president, who is the vice president. She's got policies. She's run on a platform before. She signed on to the Joe Biden platform. She signed on to the DNC platform when they ran for office in 2020. Is there so much of Kamala Harris's policies that are different than that they need time in order to make those policies be articulated on a website to the tune of, almost a month now? Is that what they really need? What is Kamala Harris saying when she's going from place to place to place, filling arenas, and filling arenas, I might add, without the assistance of a concert? That would be impressive. And we have yet to see that maybe she's capable of doing that, but we don't know. Brad, I'm going to pull up a tweet here, so I'm going to play this video and share it to our stream. But the question of whether or not Kamala Harris has her own policies or Biden policies that she's going to subscribe to, is she going to differ from Joe Biden? Is there a lot that she wants to separate herself from the current president of the United States? Because most of what people are saying right now is that it's very difficult to live in America right now. Inflation is kicking people's butts. So if she's going to have economic policies that are directly in contrast to Joe Biden, why hasn't she been doing something or saying something about that while she was the vice president? Is she going to go directly against Joe Biden? Or are her policies essentially that of the current administration? I think we're going to find out that they are pretty similar. Interestingly enough, Karine Jean-Pierre was asked yesterday in a press conference to just list out some of Kamala's achievements as vice president. This is a tweet from Libs of TikTok with this video. And, first take note of how many accomplishments Karine Jean-Pierre is capable of listing of Kamala Harris. How many things can they say she really led us across the finish line here? And then after you make that long list, understand how completely inseparable Kamala Harris is from Joe Biden.
What does the president see as the vice president's biggest achievement during their time in office together?
So look, because they've been partners, those achievements have been done, certainly those historic, unprecedented achievements have been done together. I'll say this, the president believes in the vice president leadership, her temperament, her experience, and he has said this himself. One of the proudest decisions that he made in 2020 was selecting her as vice president because he believed that she can go on day one. And you've seen them do that together on day one of this administration. That doesn't change. I'm not going to parse out anything from here. They have been partners. She's been a critical partner for this president for during this term, and will continue to do so. You will see them together on Thursday in Maryland, where they would talk about their next announcement on lowering costs for the American people.
So it sounds like they're actually going to start focusing on lowering costs for the American people. Well, that's fantastic. Good for them. Why are you waiting until an election year in order to do that? Why are you waiting till election season in order to do that? Do they understand how much inflation is crushing people? Do they understand that this is a real issue, that they cannot parse between race or religion, that we are in a constant state of trying to figure out how to afford Joe Biden's America? And yeah, I think it's actually the case, to Corinne Jean-Pierre's point. They've been in lockstep, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Kamala Harris hasn't stepped out and tried to do anything on her own, where she's tried to, lead this administration in any particular area. She's been background. And I think it's very interesting that Corinne Jean-Pierre, basically what she said about the value that Kamala Harris brings to the ticket is that she'd be ready on day one. So essentially, because she's alive, she's qualified to take over as the vice president and pick up right where Joe Biden has left off. And she knew from day one that would be something she would have to do. All right, now let's go over from Corinne Jean-Pierre, who has just tied together Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and said the accomplishments of the Biden administration, those accomplishments are Kamala Harris's also. You can't only give Kamala Harris the benefit of the accomplishments and absolve her of any sort of failures. That's not how it works. And the American people are going to be aware of that. MSNBC was asking Philadelphia black voters to talk about what are the issues that are most important to you in this upcoming election. And there's a woman here who's talking. Oh, I hesitate to guess her age, but I will. Maybe late 50s, 60s. And she's talking straight to this MSNBC reporter and giving her some honest truth.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
What do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children and I don't.
Is that what MSNBC wants to hear? Good for them for asking the question. Good for them for making the point to have the discussion with real voters who are giving real answers. You can't race bait people out of that understanding of their own personal economy. You can't divide people so much through politics where you don't have to put those policies out there in the forefront so that voters like that woman in Philadelphia, she needs to know how she's going to afford to feed herself after she feeds her family. There's nothing that's going to make a mother, a grandmother go, oh, well, the Democrat Party says I have to vote for them because if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. A direct quote from the current man in charge. We can't look at this coming election. We don't have the luxury of looking at this coming election just based on hate and fear that is trying to be sewed into our hearts and our minds. Because people just like that woman in Philadelphia, they know where the real struggle is. They know where the real problems are. And if you heard her in the very beginning there, where do you put the blame on this? She said, I put it on the federal government. You think that woman's too stupid to understand who's running the federal government right now? She knows. She understands. And she needs to be heard. She needs to be heard more than any sort of stump speech at some arena from either candidate who's trying to win this presidency. Which of the people running for office hears that Philadelphia woman? Which of the people running for office right now can say, you're gosh darn right, that is a problem right now, and we need to change it? Which of these candidates can admit that the direction of the economy right now is disastrous for middle-class America, for people who are trying to provide for themselves, for people who are trying to live life without the government coming in and minding your business all of the time? Which of these candidates can actually admit that? Because it isn't Kamala Harris. She's part of the federal government right now. She's part of the foundational direction that this economy has gone in, because just listen to Karine Jean-Pierre. They are like this. They are inseparable. The successes of this administration, however you define success, that's Kamala Harris too. She gets the successes, she gets the failures. The interesting thing here is that a lot of the things that Karine Jean-Pierre would define as a success in this Biden administration looks a lot like a failure to me. And from what I'm gathering from this woman in Philadelphia, it looks like a failure to her too. Because as she says there, a $2 bell pepper that's $5 right now, I got to start making some choices. And these are hard choices. And these are choices that when it starts to pierce into your ability to basically provide for your family, don't ask me to have some loyalty to some political party when it goes against my obvious common sense understanding of what's best for my home. That woman gets it. I don't know who she's going to vote for, but she's paying attention and she's listening. When all the media does is lie and deceive, and that's what they're doing right now. The left stream media is out there to lie and to deceive and to not press in any way, shape, or form to get real, honest answers from either candidate. MSNBC, CNN, they don't care about honest answers from Donald Trump. The further away they get from honesty and truth in Donald Trump, the more close they are to being able to fabricate their own story. They can manifest truth if people are willing to consume it. And maybe up until this point or not too long ago, people were willing to consume it, but now it's too costly. The real issues that matter right now are our ability to provide for ourselves and our comfortable security in this country, knowing that we're safe. Knowing that as Americans, as taxpaying Americans, that we're the ones who are prioritized in the situation. The current administration calls the situation that we have in this country right now success. They're looking at what we have right now. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris see the way this country is right now, and they think it's a success. They don't want what you want. They don't want you to be able to be independent of the federal government. They don't want you to be able to afford things for yourself. They need you to need them so that they can retain their access to power. That's the ruse. And when the people who are in power pat the people in the media on the back who keep them there, that's a relationship that works for them that never works for you. And the only way to combat it is to stop believing the lies and stop settling for their deceit. The media is going to be the downfall of this country. It's not Republicans or Democrats. It's the people who are in a position to seek out truth who failed to do so because they wanted to be on the side of power. That will be the downfall of the we the people part of this experiment in the United States. And we got to call it out. We're going to get a little bit more into media coverage here when we come back. And when we get into the 1 o'clock hour, I am very excited to talk to Jim Carafano because what's going on in the Middle East right now, Iran, Israel, other parties that are starting to get involved and to support what Iran is potentially doing is a little scary. So let's get to the bottom of it and get to the truth of it. And then we're going to speak to Karoline Leavitt, who is the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary at 1:25. Stick around. We'll be right back.
I have no strength with which to speak.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, this is a smart move for you. Everybody's looking to try to figure out how to maximize the way their dollar travels, and your mortgage is a huge part of your payment. If you have one of those sky-high mortgage rates, because that's where they were when you had to get your new mortgage, now is the time to consider a refinance with a bagel loan, which you can only get at Stewart's American Mortgage. Call 314-324-4440. Text 314-324-4440. And when you use the bagel loan, that refinance, it's not going to cost you anything. So you're going to be able to lock in a lower rate, which is going to result in a lower monthly payment, more money in your pocket, your hard-earned dollars stay in your bank account. And it all happens with the bagel loan. You can call Stewie. You can talk to Stewie about the details of how he can do a mortgage refinance without charging you anything in closing costs. And he'll explain it in detail. He's done it to me. I have refinanced twice with the bagel loan. I encourage you to check it out for yourself as well. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
August is a great month to save money with Chesterfield Fence and Deck in your next beautiful outdoor project. Mark Cox here. For this month, you can get 20% off your completed outdoor project from my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, and what great work they do. Lots of craftsmanship and pride because they've been at this since 1968. It is the sign you have the very best. If you have their sign in your yard, here's the deal. They love to come out and give you free estimates. They love to come out and help you with project design. Because let's face it, not all of us know exactly what we want. But boy, if you see it in a picture and they've got an extensive digital photo gallery, then you know when you see it what you want in your backyard. They've got beautiful fences and decks, and they've got pergolas and screen rooms and custom sunrooms. You'll love working with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, highly rated by the Better Business Bureau. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
It's the greatest pop rock of the 60s and 70s. The Happy Together Tour 2024 with the Turtles, Jay and the Americans, The Association, Badfinger, The Vogues, and the Cowsills. This Friday night, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Get ready for the all-new Athleta Presents Gold Over America Tour. Join Simone Biles and America's best gymnasts for a night of action-packed gymnastics. October 15th at the Family Arena. Fun for the whole family. You and your kids will love this high-energy spectacle. Music, lights, breathtaking flips, and Gold Squad dancers. Let's GOAT. October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at goldoveramericaTour.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. For a limited time, save $55 off a new water heater. Air Comfort Service not only installs attic insulation and HVAC systems, they also install water heaters. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here. Not because of a label, but because conservative ideas actually work. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation. But
I gotta interrupt this guy right now. What is the Washington Post? His name's Cleve Wootson. Are you sure? That's a name. Cleve Wootson.
Yeah, I Googled it.
Did you hear what he said there? He says he's asking at a White House press briefing what role that the White House has in shutting down Elon Musk's ability to have a conversation with Donald Trump, because Elon Musk and Twitter are harbors for misinformation and disinformation. What role does the White House have in shutting this down? He goes on.
It's a wider thing, right?
Yeah, no, and you've heard us talk about this many times from here, about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. Don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too. But look, it is. I think it is incredibly important to call that out as you're doing. I just don't have any specifics on what we have been doing internally.
Maybe lead with the private company part. Maybe lead with that. Now, this is interesting because this is X now, and I just feel like maybe as a patriot, I need to start calling it X and stop calling it Twitter, because you remember what the federal government was doing with Twitter before Elon Musk decided to expose the gosh darn thing? Do you remember how Twitter was shutting stories down like the Hunter Biden laptop, which they were completely wrong about, and everybody's come out since then and said, yeah, we kind of blew that. Do you remember what the consequence of that was? Election interference. And that was my best bad Trump impression. The Washington Post is just so comfortable asking Karine Jean-Pierre to be like, hey, Elon Musk and Trump saying things I don't like, saying things that I don't necessarily agree with. What are you going to do about it? The answer is, this is America. It's a private company. If you think that they're saying things that aren't true, then challenge them in the Washington Post. We have media outlet after media outlet that we know is incredibly disingenuous when it comes to actually reporting news. CNN is one of those outlets that people understand when CNN is reporting something that it's coming from a certain angle. A lot of people would say the same thing about Fox News. Fox News has a much more conservative-friendly panel of punditry, but they absolutely bring in the other side on the regular. And I say this all the time. You know this because you can't stand most of those people, but they're there. They're creating better conversation because the people on the left are given the platform to challenge the people on the right so that we can have a discussion about the issues. I don't see that happening. Scott Jennings on CNN, I give him a high five for the efforts he's been making here in this election season. CNN, the way they present things that are so patently false, and they do it with the news baseline. This is Caitlin Collins, right? Caitlin Collins, who I want to like these people. I want to be able to handle these people. Caitlin Collins has this thing about her that is not likable to me. There's a sense of snideness that comes across a lot of what she does and says. Like, just an understanding. There's a foundational understanding with her that Trump is just the worst thing that has ever happened. So when you watch her, is she supposed to be a news person or is she supposed to be a commentator? Do we know?
I think she's supposed to be a news person.
If you watch Sean Hannity, you know that he's a commentator. And Sean Hannity isn't my cup of tea. He's doing his thing, wildly successful. I hear wonderful things about Sean Hannity as an individual, and I have deep respect for the success that he's had. But it's not the show that I sit down to make sure that I watch every night. I like Jesse Waters a lot. I watch his show with regularity, if I can. Caitlin Collins, not my cup of tea. She's asked on Stephen Colbert's show, which, again, not my cup of tea, but I like to look at the other side and see what they're saying. Listen to Colbert ask Caitlin Collins, or make a comment to Caitlin Collins about the objective and fair reporting that CNN is known for, and then listen to his audience.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. he really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is.
Oh,
I know. CNN makes a. I know
Is that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but
He finishes
Guess
there.
it is.
I guess it is. He mentions the objectivity of CNN, and the Colbert audience busts out laughing.
This moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. I know. CNN makes a. I know.
Is that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
What is that? What do you take from that? Colbert asking a CNN host, about to pose a question to a CNN host and talking about the objectivity of CNN. They don't even take it seriously. They don't want to take it seriously. The idea that you are a left-leaning, maybe not in all the way in the tank. I think MSNBC is, I don't think that MSNBC denies who they are. I think CNN is posing as a news organization where, if you listen to what Caitlin Collins says, I don't think he understands how to attack her yet. He knows exactly what Donald Trump is going to do. He's aware of how he's going to handle this. I think that he has smartly tried to sit back while they have their kind of first couple of weeks, get all the good stuff out, all the good feelings, and then I believe that the attacks or the responses, they're going to be attacks. Let's just be real about it. Those are going to start coming quickly after the convention. I believe that they don't want to throw things out here right now that they can get ahead of at the convention, that they can put out there, and then the convention kind of squashes those things. I think it's going to look like a very different campaign once the convention is over. It is laughable to the people in the Colbert audience sitting in front of Stephen Colbert and Caitlin Collins. It's laughable to them that CNN is a just report the news objectively based entity. They think it's funny. They think it's funny that he would say that it would even need to be said that way. We have people in a press briefing, a press conference with the press secretary of the Biden administration asking them, what are you going to do about shutting down Elon Musk and Donald Trump? Free speech on a privately owned platform. This is a question that they feel very comfortable asking in 2024 of the press secretary and the administration. You have news anchors on nighttime talk shows that are the hands and feet of Democratic campaigns in the Colbert Show. You have a hand-in-glove operation at every turn, ensuring that a narrative continues to be upheld. Nowhere in any of that narrative is truth a priority or even identifiable. It's actually the biggest dose of sunlight that could possibly happen to the entire ruse that the Democrat Party has up until this point successfully been able to maneuver. What cuts through all of that? More Elon Musk, Donald Trump conversations, more Donald Trump and YouTube Aiden Ross conversations, more opportunities for Donald Trump to sidestep the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the ABCs, the CBSs, all of it, to sidestep all of it and say, I don't need you. You do need me. I'm going over here and I'm going to speak directly to the people. These are the avenues that Donald Trump needs to travel in order to be successful in November. And in turn with that, he's going to need people like you to get involved to make sure we turn people out to vote. I can't stress enough how important it is to understand your ability, you, right now in your kitchen, in your car, in your living room, at your desk, your ability to get somebody to turn in a ballot or to show up to vote that maybe wasn't thinking about doing it. And it's not just Donald Trump. It's every congressional race. It's every local race. It's your state legislatures. Top to bottom, I know you're passionate about this. You listen to 97.1. You vote in primaries. You understand the importance of this, but most people don't. We had a suggestion from one of our listeners about today's YouTube live chat poll. And the question today is, are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? Simple question. We had a suggestion from a listener like, oh, I thought today's poll would be, do you think Elon Musk helped Donald Trump? And what I have come to understand from doing the show is that while Donald Trump and Elon Musk did like 2 hours on an X space last night, which, by the way, you're sitting there and you're listening without visuals. It's radio, folks. Spaces is not new. It's radio. Tell your friends to tune in. We would love to have them. We would love to welcome them into the 97.1 family. A lot of people weren't listening to that last night. They have millions and millions and millions of views or impressions or whatever X is calling them. They are reaching millions of people, but many of you didn't listen to that last night because last night was the last night before school started for you. It was for us. Last night you had a baseball practice or a volleyball practice that you had to run people to. Last night you had a late night call that you had to attend to for work. Last night you were tired because you busted your butt all day at a job that you're trying to work your tail off so you can make ends meet in Joe Biden's America. People are busy. People are working hard. And as much as I envelop myself in the minute by minute of this news cycle, a lot of people aren't. And they're like that lady from Philadelphia who's sitting there going, it costs too much to buy groceries. And people are having to make choices about who gets to eat. And if I'm dealing with that, this Philadelphia woman says, as a paralegal who is middle class trying to feed her family, what is the person out there on food stamps doing right now? What are the people who are economically disadvantaged doing in Joe Biden's America, in Kamala Harris's America? What are they doing right now? They're probably not sitting listening to a 2-hour conversation between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And while I could see the advantage of them doing that, it's not realistic that it's going to happen. Those people still need to vote. Those people still have a concern about the future of this country that affects them more personally now than it ever has before. And we need to talk to those people just because they're in a location where maybe traditionally they might not vote Republican or might not vote at all. We need to find them. We need to be active. I'm begging you to look into different entities. TP Action is one of them that I'm working with to get involved and to make a difference. You're in a red state, Missouri. You're in a blue state, Illinois. Maybe it's not, at least on a national, federal level, maybe the difference isn't as much to be made here in your local states, but get in the car and go on a road trip and get somebody to fill out a ballot and make a difference. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote and let us know, are you better off now than you were under Trump? A lot of people responding to that question right now. Russell says no. Energy, electricity, gas, groceries, insurance, all have gone up. JB says no. My wallet says no. Grocery, gas, pump, eating out, monthly utilities, and insurance receipts all say no. And Reason says absolutely not better. My budget looks like I have an incorrect formula. I hear that. Let's get Ryan Wiggins in here, and he's got a story. Things you are wasting money on, according to a guy who's got a lot of it, Warren Buffett. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Air Comfort Service online at aircomfortservice.com. If you are in need of residential HVAC care, if you are in need of commercial HVAC care, you need to know Air Comfort Service. Wonderful people, great service, great products. 314-513-0091. That's the line to reach them directly. For commercial repairs, if you're a business owner, if you are a building manager or an operations manager, or if you're an office manager recently told that your HVAC system needs a repair. If you call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation at 314-513-0091, ask for a free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repair. Reach out to Air Comfort Service and make sure you mention the Annie Fry Show when you do, and put yourself in the hands of people who are going to respect your location, your system, and of course, making sure that you pay a fair price for the services that are needed. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle. This is the Wealth Cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe. Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? Some of the comments in the live stream are giving away how you feel, so I think I know the direction this is headed, but we want to know how you feel. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. Let us know. Give us a vote. You type in Annie Fry in YouTube and it'll come up. 12:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's what's happening.
The USS Georgia capable of carrying 150 Tomahawk missiles.
Keeping you informed.
Kamala is grossly incompetent.
And up to date.
We say, bring it on.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Perfect type to wear a day coat, pants with stripes, and cause a waistcoat perfect fits. Putting on a red.
Wiggins!
Oh!
Wiggins! Well, guys, I've got some news for you here that hopefully will help you from being poor, because the title of the article is how to keep from being poor, according to Warren Buffett. Now, I don't think Warren Buffett wrote this article. I think they're just attaching some of these principles to him.
So if we follow these principles, we'll be as rich as Warren Buffett.
That's exactly right. So all you got to do is maybe one or two of these things, and you'll get there. The first is carrying credit card debt. Do you carry credit card debt? Because the article says if you do, you shouldn't, because it's just costing you unnecessary money.
Just get rid of it.
Get rid of the credit card entirely.
Yeah, Joe Biden should. No. The debt.
Just cancel it.
Oh, the debt.
Yeah, nobody has to pay that.
You can't just
canceled.
get rid of the credit card and have the debt go away, Ryan. It's not how it works.
But if you got rid of the debt, wouldn't you just be transferring the payment of the debt to somebody else? I don't understand.
No, just print more money.
But isn't that just transferring the debt to a future generation?
No,
Nobody knows.
That's just inflation.
Okay, well, never mind on that tip then, because it seems like we've got that one solved. In fact,
It's real rich for Warren Buffett to be like, get rid of your credit card debt.
Well, I don't know that he's the one specifically saying this, but they're sourcing a lot of stuff saying this is the kind of things he does. How about quantity over quality? I got to say that this is not me. I'm definitely a quantity over quality guy.
That's what you just said.
That's being a bad thing. Quantity over quality being a bad thing. You want to choose quality over quantity.
I agree with that.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
With things like clothes.
Yeah.
With things like food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He actually says
you're quantity over quality because you just want the cheapest thing possible.
Yeah, I want deals. I want a lot of deals.
You're willing to spend money on something that's really cheap and a really good deal, even if it's not great.
I'm really trying to rein that in because that is a temptation for me. If I see a deal,
that's Ryan's default.
It is my default because if I see, like, if I'm shopping somewhere and it says outlet mall, I'm much more likely to go, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much cheaper, even though I know in my
you can
head
justify the spend much more.
Or like I just did this. I went to Branson with my son about a month ago, and we were trying to kill a little bit of time between things, and we went to one of the outlet malls there. Well, they had, buy two things at $10, get one free. So I ended up buying two belts and getting a free shirt. I really only needed one belt.
How much was the belt you bought?
A little over $10. So I was trying to maximize. It was free because I bought two belts.
How much what's the value?
It was
of the
a little
shirt?
over $10. So there was like $30 worth of stuff for $20.
But did you need a shirt and a belt?
But I didn't really need an extra shirt or an extra belt. I
So
did
they
need
got
one
an
belt.
extra $10,
So I got
right?
an extra $10. So that's the kind of stuff that I really try to watch that I'm not really good at doing. I'm still not good because that was a month ago. How about this one? Unnecessary spending on tech, on technological stuff. Brad?
What do they consider? You got to be more specific.
So this would be the latest technology.
You said unnecessary spending, and I would have just said stop.
Well, yeah, but that kind of encapsulates everything here. But it's talking about how if you feel like you always need the latest and greatest technology, you're going to end up spending a lot of money.
I would agree with that because phones are really expensive. And if you have to get the next iPhone or the next Galaxy or whatever, and you don't actually need it, that to me is a waste. I mean, I'm looking at my phone. I think it's an iPhone SE 2020. So it's 4
are you
years
kidding
old.
me?
It's
I don't have
4
any idea.
years
That could be the
old.
newest one, and I have
it's
no
an
idea.
SE.
Yeah. And it's like the lowest model. It's like the low-end model of that model year. So until it stops working and doing what I need it to
What
do.
does an entry-level iPhone cost these days?
I don't know. It probably depends on the package because a lot of them you get a free phone if you sign up for Verizon for 2 years.
That's not buying a phone. That's buying a
package.
plan.
Yeah, I have no idea if you're going to buy a phone new.
Do you always buy your phone in conjunction with your plan?
I do unless it breaks or something and I have to. It's been a long time since I've had to do that.
I don't think I've ever bought a phone in conjunction with a plan.
Really?
No.
I don't remember the last time I didn't.
Buy it outright, which you might be saying, Annie, sure, everybody can just go out there and buy it outright. But I buy the phone outright because I don't, like, my cell phone bill is pretty low. I don't want my monthly bill to be high. I'd rather spend the money on the phone when I get it and own it than hope that I use the same phone for 2 years so that I can realize the same price. I mean, it's usually same as cash over the course of the time of the contract that you sign. But I'd rather own it myself and not have to finance it and take 2 years to realize those savings.
This is one of my favorites on the list. Don't buy anything at full price. And they give a anecdotal story here about Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Buffett pulling out McDonald's coupons to buy him lunch one time. I don't know if that's a true story or not. It says that it is. But apparently Warren Buffett still uses coupons to buy meals. Now, you guys have to admit, that's a great idea, right? Coupons for everything all the time.
No. Maybe just lower the prices.
Yeah, maybe. Or use the app. Do you guys use the app for any fast food or anything? You guys don't really eat fast food that much.
I use the Scooters app.
Yes.
Same.
Yes.
I get my free drink when I get my smiles.
And I was going to say, you get your smiles. I have a feeling I know where you're headed on this one. Regular nights out. Do you guys spend a lot of money on going out in the evening?
Not in the intended sense.
Okay. What is the sense in which you do?
I got Papa John's for the kids last night because Jared had to work at night because he was getting back to school, and Jared usually makes dinner for us. I could have made something for them, but it was the last night before school started, and Charlie had golf practice, and the girls had to go back to school tomorrow, and so we just got some Papa John's via the app.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. I should have brought you the leftovers.
I would have eaten them too. This is one of those things that I agree with overall, but gosh, it's important to have dates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often you guys get to go on dates. Ours is because of kids, of course.
I literally don't remember the last time we went on a date.
Really? Man, that's unfortunate. Send your kids over to my house. You guys go on a date.
Evelyn would be so happy.
She would.
Not that my other kids wouldn't.
Your other kids would be like, why are we over here?
She's just specifically joyful.
The last one that it says, or second to last one, is gambling. It just says don't gamble because the odds are against you. Surprise, surprise.
You know, we're laughing at several of these things. We're all in pretty much the same kind of place with a few different obligations among the three of us, but a lot of people aren't. And, you know, this kind of goes to the YouTube poll for today. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? You can have all your ducks in a row and still see that it is more difficult today than it was before. That doesn't mean that you're about to live on the street. But again, in America, we're supposed to be working our tail off to get ahead, not to keep up. And it's very, very hard to get ahead in Kamala Harris's America. Let's talk to Jim Carafano when we come back.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Let's talk about Point Pest Control. And as we're getting into, it's going to be fall before you know it. You want to make sure that those spiders are not going to find you inside of your home. No spiders. 636-798-0023. Ants, different sorts of bugs that can creepy crawl around your house. Yeah, we see a lot of that during Halloween season, but we only want the decoration kind. You don't want the real kind. And if you see any of the real kind, you call Point Pest Control. They're going to take care of it for you. One of my favorite dollars that I spend is as a subscriber of the Premier Service Plan with Point Pest Control, because we have no bugs in the house. There aren't any. We haven't seen any spiders in our house since I think it was last November when I had them come out and nuke the place. That's not the technical term, but that's how I feel about it, and it makes me feel better inside. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie when you call and save an extra 10% on the top of whatever they're offering at the time. 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
Home values are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Returning to X, Gianna Gelosi, Fox News. Despite some technical difficulties, former President Donald Trump and Elon Musk had a big audience for their 2-hour interview on X last night. Fox's Brian Yennis explains.
At its peak, about 1.3 million people were listening in as former President Trump and Elon Musk spoke for more than 2 hours yesterday in an audio conversation on X. But it was marred by technical glitches that delayed the event by more than 40 minutes. Users who tried to join the X Spaces convo were met with messages that said, quote, "This space is unavailable." Musk claimed the glitches were due to a cyber attack, writing, quote, "There appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X working on shutting it down. An attack has not been independently verified, and critics are skeptical given the rest of X appear to be operating normally."
Now, Elon Musk admitted today that X committed, quote, "unforced errors and mistakes" that helped delay his interview with former President Trump after initially blaming the glitch on a server attack. The Harris-Walz campaign called Musk and Trump self-obsessed rich guys who will sell out the middle class and who cannot run a live stream in the year 2024. Meanwhile, former President Trump's campaign is claiming its internal communications were hacked by Iran. Fox's Jillian Turner.
On Friday, Microsoft revealed Iranian hackers targeted the account of a, quote, high-ranking official on the U.S. presidential campaign back in June, with Trump himself posting the next day, "We were just informed by Microsoft Corporation that one of our many websites was hacked by the Iranian government. Never a nice thing to do." Politico says its staff began receiving emails last month from someone calling themselves Robert at an AOL email address, including a February 23rd Trump campaign research dossier on Senator J.D. Vance.
And that's Fox's Jillian Turner at the State Department. The FBI says it's investigating. America's listening to Fox News.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Partly sunny skies, and I think temps should peak out at about 81 this afternoon. But let's keep an eye out for a couple of spotty thunderstorms. Tonight, lots of clouds, 70s for evening plans, 68 for the low. On Wednesday, morning showers and thunderstorms scattered about, otherwise partly sunny, and 83. 88 Thursday and Friday, and still a little bit on the unsettled side. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
If you're buying or selling in Illinois, you need to know Jen Teske. You need to know that name. JenTeskeHomes.com, Teske. When you contact the Jen Teske team with RE/MAX Alliance, you are going to be hooked up with the best in the business, those folks who are capable of guiding you through that whole process from the very first thought of, I think we might want to sell our home, or you know what, I think we might want to downsize, or maybe you need to expand. When you start the conversation with Jen Teske and her team, you are going to be connected to people who understand exactly what the Illinois market is doing. They are experts at it. If you're expecting to list your home, they will help you position your home in a way that will get it a top dollar and a fast sale. They are willing to tell you the truth, but they'll do it in a way that is full of kindness, and you're going to become friends with these people. They're just wonderful. 618-541-1010. 618-541-1010. Reach out to Jen Teske with RE/MAX Alliance today. JenTeskeHomes.com.
The Focus Marines Foundation is here to help veterans transition from service to civilian life, and we're here to support them. This is Mark Cox inviting you to get involved in this month's Conservatives Care effort by visiting 971talk.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. There's so much going on in the world. Of course, we get wrapped up in elections and talking about all of the ins and outs, the daily, minute by minute of a presidential campaign. And there's so much consequence to what Americans decide to do this November. Meanwhile, when you flip on the news, you see that the headline right now, Iran rejects calls to refrain from retaliation. We see assets with the American military being positioned for defense. It's a dramatic moment in time on a global scale, and we have to make sure we have broad vision on what our local decisions this election season, what they're going to mean. And in order to have good opinions on that, it's good to have real, true, factual information on what is going on in the world, which is why we have Jim Carafano on each week. He's a senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, welcome back.
Hey, great to be with you.
Thank you. I'm watching the news. They're covering what's going on as Israel gets ready to defend against an Iranian strike. What can you tell us about this moment in time in the Middle East?
Well, it's kind of like, what are they waiting for? I mean, what exactly are the Iranians, a full moon? I mean, here's what I think the Iranians have to think about, and it has nothing to do with American diplomacy. And, you probably saw the news today. We just deployed another U.S. nuclear submarine to the Middle East. It has 150 Tomahawks. That's literally 150 targets.
Wow.
Because if the U.S. is going to be shooting at stuff, the first thing they're going to do is take out anything that can shoot down a Tomahawk. And then the Tomahawks are all going to where they're directed. We have F-22s, F-35s, a whole task force from the 6th Fleet there, including an aircraft carrier. So Iran has very weak air and missile defense systems. So what we don't know, because diplomacy is stupid, what we don't know is the back channels. I mean, what are the quiet messages of the United States that pass through third parties to the Iranians? And if it's, dude, if you shoot at Israel, not only are we going to, shoot everything down, we're going to attack the places where stuff was shot from. And then that's going to open the door for Israel to a massive retaliation against Iran, which could actually potentially topple the government. Now, we don't know if that's the message the Americans sent, but we do know that the Iranians can look at all that hardware that the United States has deployed and think they're not just there on vacation.
When you're watching Iran, and I feel as though we've been covering this potential retaliatory strike for a while now, and they are waiting. What do you? Is that American influence that's causing them to hesitate? Is there something that you think Iran feels they're better poised to do it on Friday versus on Monday? Why wait?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's enormous risk here for the Iranian regime. I mean, look, sure they can fire missiles at Israel, but Israel's a very resilient society, and the Israelis can not only have an excuse to punch back. I mean, we know the targets that the Israelis are going to go after. They're going to take out all the command and control that allows the Iranians to actually control their country. They're going to take out the electrical grid. They're going to hit stuff that allows Iran to export oil and make money, and then they're going to start to go after the nuclear targets. And Iran, you have to ask yourself, the Iranian regime, is it worth it to do all that? There are many, many other ways the Iranians can strike back. They can do covert operations. They can have Hezbollah shoot missiles. They can fight to the last, person in Lebanon. They can fight to the last, Palestinian. So, I know I've said this on your show before. I have, when I talk, people think, oh, geez, this guy knows what he's talking about. Look, I'm wrong. There's lots of times I'm wrong. You know what's consistent when I'm wrong? It's because I discount the stupid, reckless, risky option. Because, what normal person would do that? So I'm not saying Iran's not going to attack. I'm just saying that there's a lot of risk for them in doing an all-out assault on Israel.
How much of what is taking place right now, I mean, I guess you only know what you know and can fill in the blanks and the rest, but how much of what is taking place between Iran and Israel right now of that conversation is America involved in?
Well, if you listen to the public things, you would think the United States are literally freaking idiots, right? I mean, all of the stuff we said publicly, I think is 99.99% designed for domestic consumption and the election, and has nothing to do with actually messaging to the Middle East. Because if it was actually messaging to the Middle East, you would say take all those people out back and shoot them for stupid. What we don't know is what's being said behind the scenes, which probably matters just way more. And that is actually what really drives Middle East diplomacy. It's not what's said in public. It's what's said quietly, because you have to remember, in this part of the world, honor is power. You're powerful if you can threaten and punish your enemies, and you never want to be perceived as weak. So if you want to send really tough signals, or if you want to basically capitulate and not say it in public, you do it behind the scenes.
So is Iran worried about upsetting America?
Well, look, this is where I have to give I'm not partisan, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. They know what they have with Biden, which is a guy who tries to straddle the traditional Democratic position, we can't throw an ally under the bus, and the radical wing of the party, which would definitely throw them under the bus. We know that if it's a Kamala Harris, that in January they will get a president who is in the radical wing of the party, that is with the squad and doesn't believe in Israel, and actually believes that unleashing Islamism is not only good in the Middle East, it's good in America. And that is the perfect president for them. If they get Donald Trump, they know they've got a problem. But if it is Donald Trump, they've got November, December, and January to do what they need to do to prepare for that. Mm-hmm. So they've got a lot of options. All of them are foreclosed if they start firing missiles today.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation. A Fox News report in a different location in the world. Russian President Vladimir Putin is scrambling to counter Ukrainian offensives amid a week-long invasion in Russia's Kursk, I hope I'm saying that right, region, in what Ukrainian President Zelensky argued Monday night was a border security operation. What's taking place in that conflict currently?
Yeah, first of all, the amazing thing, which I think took everybody, as we've all been surprised so many times in this war, is that the Ukrainians had managed to assemble a strategic reserve of that size and that military capability, because it's actually quite sophisticated offensive, and do this. And nobody knew that the Ukrainians had in them. So I actually think if you're the Russians, the first thing you got to say is, well, why didn't I know that was going to happen? And what else do the Ukrainians have up their sleeve that I don't know about? From the Ukrainian side, it's very, very difficult because we've been arguing about this for days on the email with the military circles to assess the Ukrainian operation because we don't actually know what the strategic objective is. And since we don't really know how this fits into the overall Ukrainian plan, it's very, very difficult to say, well, is it working or not?
What is America's obligation right now to that conflict? Because I know we spent a lot of money and sent a lot of money over there, but what has that culminated in?
That's super easy to answer. Our obligation is to protect our interests. That's it. Zero. We have zero actual obligations to the Ukrainians. As much as we all maybe want them to win because, we don't like bullies beating up on people. And what is our interest? And our interest is a stable Europe that can't be destabilized by the Russians or infiltrated by the Chinese. And so that means a secure frontier of NATO. Now, are we better off with a free and independent Ukraine that can defend itself? Does that contribute to a secure frontier of NATO, which means a secure Europe, which means a secure transatlantic community? The answer is yes.
Jim Carafano speaking with us right now. I want to ask you about a story that everybody's talking about, but I want to ask you about it from somewhat of a different angle, because we have two vice presidential candidates right now who have served. And it's been a while that we have been able to look at people who are running for this high profile of an office where we've been able to really talk about military service. And we have two individuals who have given of their time and the commitment of their life to be able to serve their country. I think that's admirable. Of course, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, the VP candidate for Harris, served for 24 years in the Minnesota National Guard. I'm wondering if in the midst of all of this stolen valor conversation, which is not really the question I want to ask you about, how you feel about that specifically, I'm wondering what you think that the American sentiment is on the whole about our military, about people who choose to serve in the military, and about the job that is ahead of this military.
Well, I would definitely say that the military service is still valued and respected by most Americans. I think confidence in the military has declined in recent years. I think that's because of feckless leadership in Washington. I'm just being honest. I would say you remember I've said this a million times. It doesn't matter what you think you're voting for. You are voting for the commander in chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. And people say, well, what does military service mean to that? Well, some of our greatest presidents, didn't have military service. I mean, probably our greatest war president was Abraham Lincoln. Had got lost in the Black Hawk War and had to walk home. And, Ronald Reagan, who wore a uniform, but, never really served in combat. So, and you can have military service and be a terrible president because your military service may not have anything to do with the level of stuff that you would expect from a military leader. So, military service is, to get back to the stolen valor thing, the reason why it's a big issue, and the things that are a big issue are things of credibility. Were you honest about the awards you received, where you served, the rank you had? And the reason for that isn't so much are you lying, because lots of politicians lie, we get that. But when people misstate their military credentials for political or financial gain, that rubs Americans the wrong way. That is, kind of a red line, I think, for a lot of people.
Have your experience of paying attention to what's been going on the southern border and really drawing a spotlight towards it for much longer than, unfortunately, the current administration has been, specifically on this show. When you look at the southern border, and then I always consider it to be a great distraction, whether or not we fight over whether or not Kamala Harris was, in fact, the words borders are. She was put in charge of it. And I'm curious if you think that the border situation right now is Kamala Harris's to bear that responsibility as much as it is Joe Biden's.
Yeah, I would say yes, but forward looking, I look, and again, not a Republican, not a Democrat, but if anybody thinks that they're going to be better on the border in another, Biden, Obama, Biden, Harris, it's not going to happen. If they do anything on the border, it will be because they are forced to by events, a terrorist attack, something super catastrophic. But I absolutely would 1,000% be anything they're saying about the border now is literally politics to get through the election. I mean, and it's just not true. And I say that because there's actually several issues where we just know they're not being honest. I mean, we're not going to try to ban fracking. Well, of course they are. I mean, these are just foundational things in the party that they just can't turn off and say, well, we're not going to care about that. We're just going to do better in the next 4 years. It's just not true.
You made a comment earlier about the boldness of places like Iran, and should one side of this presidential race win, that they're going to have just a few months to get their affairs in order before a dramatically different approach to Iran would take office in January. How dramatic do you think that the southern border will be affected if the policy takes a right angle turn come this election? Will we see an effective change rapidly if the Trump policies got put back in place?
Well, I think this is right. I mean, this is one of the issues where you have basically two people running for office who have a track record. It's not like a bunch of promises. I mean, look, Harris is going to be very dependent on people that were in the Obama, Biden, Harris regime. So it's going to be, we know what they're going to deliver because that's what they've delivered, not just the last 4 years, but 8 years under Obama. We know exactly what Trump's going to do on the border, and he's very experienced at it. And the one thing you cannot debate is whether Trump will be successful in securing the border and in reducing the illegal population. We know he will be, and in dealing with Latin America. I mean, we know Mexico is going to play ball. These guys know how to deal with Mexico. They learned their lessons on Venezuela. I mean, not only are we going to see different policies, we can be very confident in the outcome of the policies because we saw them put in place in the 4 years under Trump. So these are issues handling the economy, foreign policy, border security and immigration. These things are not up for debate, right? Because, we have a track record. It's if you watch the Olympics and you saw people get, in the race, isn't it shocking that the people with world records and the Olympic medals, they were the ones that won. And, why was that? Well, because they had a track record of no pun intended, but, they had performance, and you can judge that, and you could predict their future performance. It's not like the stock market.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There is a track record, and everybody needs to pay a lot of attention to it come November. We appreciate you, Jim Carafano. Definitely a lot of things heating up, and we always love having you on here to give us some of the facts.
Thanks. You're
Take
the
care.
best.
You are.
Really, no. You really are the best. There's nobody better on radio than Annie Frey, period.
Jim.
End of drop mic. See ya.
Bye. I appreciate you. Oh, I don't think he had to remember my name there when he paused. He's like, whose radio show am I doing right now? Oh, that's very kind of him to say. I'm excited for our next guest. Was excited for our last guest. If you didn't hear the whole conversation with Jim, make sure you check out the Annie Frey Show podcast, or you can just rewind on the stream. We'd be happy to share that with you here as soon as we wrap up the show. Karoline Leavitt's going to be with us when we come back. She's the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. You hear Jim Carafano always saying, not a partisan. Karoline is all in for Trump. Obviously, she is the National Press Secretary for Donald Trump's campaign. We're going to ask her about that Trump on X last night with Elon Musk. We're going to ask her about debates with Kamala Harris. And if you've got a question you want me to ask her, make sure you get on the Annie Frey YouTube channel right now. Leave it in the comments. I'll keep my eye on them. Maybe get your question in here when we come back. Don't go away.
I'll be with you when the stars start falling.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going, in the sunshine of your love.
let's talk about Window World and those replacement windows that you've been thinking about getting. Can I afford them? Good news. Right now, Window World St. Louis has the opportunity for you to potentially qualify for 36 months, same as cash. That is an awesome way to make sure you can do the project that you've been putting off for quite some time. 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit at Window World. You can go online to windowworldSTLewis.com, windowworldSTLewis.com, or you can call them directly at 314-993-1800. When you call them, drop that Annie Fry name in there, and you're going to be entered to win a drawing for 4 St. Louis Blues tickets during the upcoming season from Window World, the windows that are simply the best for less. They are confident in the quality of the window. They back it up with a lifetime warranty, and they have satisfied many St. Louis customers just like you who have gone to review these windows and are very grateful for the experience. Don't pass up this opportunity for 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call 314-993-1800 and make sure you let them know that Annie sent you to be entered to win those tickets from Window World. Online at windowworldstlewis.com.
It's the greatest pop rock of the 60s and 70s. The Happy Together Tour 2024 with the Turtles, Jay and the Americans, The Association, Badfinger, The Vogues, and the Cowsills. This Friday night, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster.
Get ready for the all-new Athleta Presents Gold Over America Tour. Join Simone Biles and America's best gymnasts for a night of action-packed gymnastics. October 15th at the Family Arena. Fun for the whole family. You and your kids will love this high-energy spectacle. Music, lights, breathtaking flips, and Gold Squad dancers. Let's GOAT! October 15th at the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at goldoveramericaTour.com.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Attention, Missouri residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive free in-home care from a loved one, funded by Medicaid with no cost to you. Freedom Care, Missouri's #1 home care provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift. Freedom Care has over 5,000 5-star Google reviews and is #1 in Missouri for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's 100% free to you, go to freedomcare.com or call 314-557-3027. That's 314-557-3027. 314-557-3027.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Justin Sparks, he's a state representative, also a former St. Louis County police officer.
Something happened after Ferguson around this country in which cowardice took over and people's personal interest in terms of their career started influencing them.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this, maybe this is worth talking about that. Since
It was
that slide saved
You're
your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but and I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one.
That's the kind of conversation that took place last night between the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, hoping to be the next president of the United States, Donald Trump, along with Elon Musk on his space on X. That's what we listened to last night. It was 2 hours. I listened to the whole thing. It got started late, but once it got going, it got going. And it was a pleasure to be able to listen to. I want to bring our next guest onto the show. Karoline Sunshine joins us once again, Deputy Director of Communications for Donald Trump for President. Karoline, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing okay. Glad that you could be with us today. Somebody suggested in our comments on our YouTube live stream right now whether or not we thought that the Elon Musk conversation with Donald Trump actually helped Donald Trump. In this day and age, with the media being as slanted as it possibly could, it seems as though Donald Trump is trying to take alternative media outlets as a way to get his version of the story out and have his conversations on his terms.
Yeah, well, one thing we know for sure in this country is that the liberal mainstream media does not have the trust of the American people, and this has been happening for years. Actually, it really kind of coincides with President Trump's original political rise all the way back in 2015. But the liberal mainstream media has lost credibility over each of those years with the American people for obvious reasons. Look at all of the lies. They lie every day that ends in Y, whether it's about the origins of COVID, the Hunter Biden laptop story, the lies that they've told about President Trump and his family, of course, the big lie of concealing Joe Biden's cognitive decline from the American people. I mean, Joe Biden is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, president of the United States. Very clear he is not in the shape one needs to be in to lead the greatest country in the world, and the liberal mainstream media played a role in covering that up and lying to the American people about that. Now they continue to lie about Kamala Harris and her record. And so what you see is more and more Americans have moved to alternative sources of media. They're looking for independent voices and platforms that they can trust, and that's what they have found on X. And so you watched last night or listened last night to two geniuses converse for a couple hours in a format that was, you could never see Kamala Harris in that setting, right? It was unscripted. It was freewheeling. I thought Greg Gutfeld posted on X and really said it best. He said, just incredible to see a political candidate be able to converse on any number of those more intellectual topics so freely without having to have binders of information in front of them or 10 staffers around them, whatever. And that's who Donald Trump is. He's authentic, but he also has actually a very granular grasp of the policy issues. And then, of course, I thought Elon Musk said it best last night, too, when he said, I've actually been fairly apolitical most of my life. If anything, I've actually leaned Democrat. I've been more moderate. I waited in line for 6 hours one time to shake Barack Obama's hand. And I think it's so important to vote for President Trump. And we're seeing more and more of those types of voters come over to our campaign. And we want to meet them where they're at. And a lot of the times they're on places like X and getting their message and their media from alternative platforms outside of the liberal mainstream media that they've grown to really have zero trust in for very obvious and very fair reasons.
We're speaking with Karoline Sunshine. She's the Deputy Director of Communications for Donald Trump for President. On X at C Sunshine. Go follow her there. So, I was listening to that. It was 2 hours. And Donald Trump, it doesn't matter what you throw at him in a conversation. He has context. He's been there, and he also has ideas of where we need to go next. And I'm wondering if right now the Trump campaign feels like it's more important to define the opponent in Kamala Harris, or if it's more important to define a vote for Donald Trump. This is what you're going to get in a second Trump term should he be elected in November.
Yeah, well, it's both, because the reality that the American people face is both. So there's two dynamics going on here. One is that we know anytime you run for president as a Republican, actually really not as a Republican, as a anti-establishment candidate, which is who Donald Trump has run as ever since he came down the escalator in 2015. That's who he's running as today. There's only one anti-establishment candidate in this race, and that's Donald J. Trump. And we know when you run as that candidate, right, you are not just running against the Democrat nominee. You are always running against the Democrat nominee and the liberal mainstream media and swamp apparatus that kicks in and chooses their candidate. We watched this happen in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. You're watching it happen again with Kamala Harris. So that's the first dynamic at play, right? But the second dynamic at play, and so when it comes to defining Kamala Harris, basically it should be the job of the mainstream media in this country to hold Kamala Harris to account, to force her into opportunities to be in front of the American people, whether that is a press conference that she hasn't done. It's been 22 days since she's been the nominee from selection versus election, hasn't sat down for an interview, hasn't taken tough questions, hasn't done a press conference. The liberal mainstream media is failing to do its job by holding her to account and having her do that. You couldn't contrast that further, obviously, with how President Trump does things. But it's an important point because I think the liberal mainstream media knows that if Kamala Harris is to sit down and take a tough interview or tough questions, the castle is going to crumble the same way it did for Joe Biden. So again, that just speaks to their dishonesty and their lack of credibility. So that's the first dynamic at play, is that you're, defining her. It should be the job of the media to tell the truth about who Kamala Harris is. Yeah. But as we often find in our campaign, while that is their job, it ends up being ours. And so we intend to keep telling the truth about who Kamala Harris is to every voter in this country, meeting them on every medium, every platform. And then the second dynamic at play is, as you mentioned, defining who President Trump is. And who President Trump is the great American warrior. This is the man that took a bullet for democracy. You watched President Trump on stage in Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago say it best, that this election is between fake, fake, fake and fight, fight, fight. Kamala Harris is a fake career politician who's never held a real job in her life. She's spent all of her life either running for office or being in office. She's ruthlessly ambitious and will say anything to get elected, as we've seen with all of her flip-flopping policies. And of course, she's been part of the suffering that the American people have had to endure for the last 4 years. We look at the issues most important to Americans, which is the economy, inflation, immigration. The reason Americans trust President Trump most on those issues is because of his record, right? President Trump is running to make America great again, and we do that by securing our border. That's something that's really important to the American people. Right now, we've had upwards of 10 million illegal immigrants, 30 tons of fentanyl, 360 names off the terror watch list come across our border. Under borders are Kamala Harris. If we don't have a border, we don't have a nation. And then, of course, people are yearning for that Trump economy back. They remember what it was like to be able to afford not just diapers and groceries, but have a chance at affording the American dream. And right now we're seeing people not being able to afford household goods. We're seeing the American dream of home ownership is really lost for a generation, especially for young people. And we're seeing people having to come out of retirement just to afford daily life, their bills, and their medications. And so who President Trump is somebody who is going to make America great again by making America safe, strong, affordable, and even wealthy again.
Caroline, thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate you giving us that perspective. And I know a lot of people tuned in to that space last night with Elon Musk, and hopefully he does more of those. I'd love to see him do them weekly on a specific topic or something, and hear more directly from the president without the angry left-leaning media getting involved and trying to screw everything up. So we appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. The Trump, let's see. Let me get this right. Deputy Director of Communications for Donald J. Trump, Caroline Sunshine. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins will get back in studio with us. The YouTube live chat poll, are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Cassins & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. I want to make sure that you understand the level of customer service that you get when you shop at Cassins & Sons. They are in Glen Carbon, Illinois, and they work very hard to make sure that you are paired with the exact vehicle that fits your budget, that's going to protect yourself and your family, a confident experience that you're going to have. I certainly have. I recommend them off the air to my friends and family, and I've purchased multiple vehicles from them myself. Right now, they have 0% available on most new Jeeps, so you're going to want to check them out, especially if you're in the market for a Jeep. We drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I love it. It is exactly what our family needed to accommodate the six of us, in addition to the Chrysler Pacifica that we bought from them. And, you're going to get the same experience that I had. Nothing special for me that you're not going to get for you because they're going to give you a great fair price. They're going to be honest with you, like I said, because they're trying to earn you back for the next vehicle you might buy in 3, 5, 10 years whenever you go to buy another one. They care about those long-term relationships, and it shows in the quality of care they give you when you buy a great car from Cassens & Sons, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. You can call them directly at 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712, and you can find them online at cassenscan.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Hey, are you better off now than you were under Trump? Simply yes or no is today's YouTube live chat poll. You can find that by typing in Annie Fry onto YouTube. The live stream will come up, and so will that question. Let us know how you're faring now as compared to under Trump. 142. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's what's happening.
The USS Georgia capable of carrying 150 Tomahawk missiles.
Keeping you informed.
Kamala is grossly incompetent.
And up to date.
We say, bring it on.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is a love attack. I know when our body's back, it's just like any fat. It retracts before impact. And just like fashion, it's a passion for the with it and hip. If you got the goods, they'll come in by it just to stay in the click.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Ryan, did you listen to the X Space last night with Trump?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of it.
How much of it?
Oh, probably 45 minutes to an hour.
Which like initially, when did you tune in and when did you tune out?
Well, I guess I missed all of the tech problems because I tuned in
Everybody
sometime
missed the tech
between
problems.
What's that?
Everybody, I mean,
Well, yeah, nobody was
nothing-
participating in
yeah.
it.
But it was like about 45 minutes late.
Yeah, so I tuned in at about 9 o'clock, I'd say, and stayed till about 10, right around there.
9 o'clock. So what were they talking about when you dipped out?
Well,
Or why did you decide to dip out?
Well, I decided to dip out because my wife said, "Hey, I need you for something," and I had to run away.
Okay, so you weren't bored by it.
No, I was gonna hear the whole thing.
And then your wife.
And then my wife got in the way.
It's always the wife. What do you think?
My initial thought. Now I'm trying to approach this completely like I'm just tuning it because I was. I mean, I was just tuning in to kind of eavesdrop on a conversation, which is what it felt like. It was interesting to hear two guys who clearly know how to use money. They know the economy. And the reason that you can tell that they do is that they use language that regular people don't use to describe economics. It's weird because Trump speaks at like that 7th grade level that journalists say you're supposed to speak at. He just naturally does. But he's using vernacular that makes you know, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about when he talks about how to use money correctly, and so does Elon. So that's what really struck me, and that might have been right when I tuned in. That's what they were talking about, but that was my initial reaction.
What did you think about the experience? Because I put this out there last night as like a fireside chat where everybody gathers around. It's your phone, it's not your radio, but it's a pretty like desensitized way to communicate. Something.
Yeah. And I don't hear
just audio.
I don't hear even Republican politicians doing this. So it's not just that Kamala doesn't do it, it's politicians don't do it. Because it is a very unsafe environment to talk to somebody just completely off the cuff for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Because there's so many things that you could just say because they were so freewheeling. I mean, it really just sounded like a podcast.
It was just people talking.
That you were listening. You were just kind of eavesdropping on two people having a conversation. And in that sense, it felt dangerous to me. And in a good way.
Which makes it interesting.
Yeah.
It's not so polished. I found it very interesting to listen to. Here, why is this not playing? Do you have this down? Can we have it up?
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
What'd you hear there?
I hear one thing about, I mean, the point is, yes, that's what I was going to say next.
Biden actually did something that was impossible.
He sounds like Lou Holtz. And if you know who Lou Holtz is and have listened to him, he sounds a lot like that. It sounds mush mouth and
Biden actually
slobbery.
did something that was impossible.
So that part of the conversation had a lot of people like haters all over him for that. And then this is from inside the room, not over the space.
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. Yeah. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
So there you go.
That's I had not heard that.
I know. That's why I wanted to make sure we played them back to back.
And I did hear that when I was listening to the interview.
Everybody did. Everyone was talking about it. The idea that there was some sort of lisp behind Donald Trump. It does sound like this is what it sounded like to me and to you last night. This is from the space.
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
So that is from the space, and this is from a video that was taken on a phone in the room with Donald Trump while he was, you can see in the video that we've got shared with you right now, that his phone is just sitting in front of him. I saw another photograph where he has a microphone clipped on his lapel, up on his collarbone, is pretty high up there. And from inside the room, this is what Donald Trump sounds like.
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him.
When he says sides there is no slobbery slur that did come over spaces. So the compression on the spaces has Donald Trump sounding different than he did sound in real life. And I'm glad they took this video in real life to prove that, because I did notice that lisp.
I did too, but I assumed because we've heard Trump talk so much, even very recently, last couple of days, that wasn't there. That my assumption was, and this would be an honest...
He could have easily gotten some dental work done and had a retainer in.
Well, that's possible too.
Or something going on that was different.
But my assumption was this is a microphone issue because that's the most obvious explanation, having heard the guy like 2 days ago. He didn't have. It's not like you just suddenly have the dental thing. Would be the only reason why it could naturally occur.
Well, I wanted to make sure that we overemphasize the difference between these two clips because it's a
both sides. Yeah. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
It's a natural thing for people to criticize his slurred speech. This is something that they have on the left tried to. They're talking about Donald Trump's age, and it's funny to me that one of the main left talking points, you hear them, they don't linger on it, but they always mention the fact that Kamala Harris is 20 years younger than Donald Trump, and they're trying to push the age thing into the conversation. The exact same people who told you the week before that they forced Joe Biden out of the race that he was too energized to keep up with. The deceitful lies that these folks are willing to tell, and then they can just change.
Yeah.
Transform the truth, and they look you in the eyes the whole time they're saying this to you. It's soulless. The way that they are willing to lie to you, that when things like this happen and they can try to fit this in the narrative that now Donald Trump is some doddering old man who's slurring his words and speaking with a lisp because he's got something going on health-wise that's causing him to speak like this. No, just N-O, period. No.
Yeah. USA Today. Trump rambles, slurs his way through Elon Musk interview. It was an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, maybe to you. Maybe to USA Today.
Like I said, though, I heard it. You heard it. We didn't go write a story that somehow, this is the logic that they're trying to get you to agree to here. Somehow, within the last 24 hours, Trump has developed a slur to his speech that has never been there before.
Yeah, somehow. Through audio compression and a microphone. While he was speaking to like 1.3 million people.
Yes. But it's everywhere. The Soviet-style manipulation of information that we're experiencing in America right now is remarkable. And I don't think it's just those of us in this room or the people listening to 97.1 who are realizing it. I think there is a undercurrent right now of America that's realizing this, that we are being manipulated. And if that is happening, if that's really happening in America, that is a good thing that we're understanding it.
CBS News tweets this morning at 7:42 a.m. Donald Trump ran through his checklist of conspiracy theories in a rambling conversation with Elon Musk Monday night that was initially derailed by what the tech titan said was a technical glitch. It wasn't a technical glitch. Elon Musk said last night specifically that it was a massive DDoS attack on the system. That's what he said. Now, if you want to say that he was lying about that, it wasn't a technical glitch. A technical glitch implies that Elon Musk's system didn't hang.
Right.
It was an actual attack on their system. I mean, go back and look at what Hillary Clinton said when her emails got hacked and like how it became an excuse for a whole bunch of things for her. It was something she relied on regularly, which I find incredibly ironic that a lot of the things that are happening to the Trump campaign right now are things that happened to the Clinton campaign that they blamed for losing that campaign. Email hack? Oh, you don't say. And my favorite part is the emails came from somebody named Robert. That's like the extent. I'm like, how much information are we giving Robert? What? But CBS puts that out there and says that he goes through a checklist of conspiracy theories. What conspiracy theories are you talking about, CBS? What is it that Donald Trump talked about last night? Was it climate change? It's hard for me to pen down what the issues are that you're talking about that were conspiracy theories, as if that's the only thing that he discussed. And it's not. He was talking about a whole assorted list of things, like what we played in the beginning of the show. That woman from Philadelphia was talking about how, there are a lot of people who are having to figure out right now if they're going to be able to feed their family and themselves. Last night, Donald Trump was talking about food prices and Americans today. This is what he had to say.
With all of that being said, to me, that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discuss the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad.
Huge compression on that. Causing him,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
distracting. And I mean, if you heard that and that was enough for you to go, we got what we need out of this, then you wouldn't listen to him talking about the fact that people can't afford their groceries. You wouldn't listen to Donald Trump talking about the importance that is the border and what Harris
We
would
have
do
a
about
defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Oh. And then the best line, and I think the thing that is going to live in infamy after this wrapped up, he was talking about Ukraine and Russia.
I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way.
No way, Garth. Way.
Here's Putin and Trump, the two most prolific, powerful people in the world going back and forth at the time. No way. Way.
Excellent.
Yeah, and who won? The no way or the way? Our guy.
Our guy won
Way.
that. Yeah. You know how we know that? Recent history. He goes
in real life, if those words came out of Joe Biden's mouth, we would just roast him.
Oh,
over
yeah.
it.
But it would be fun. I mean, that would be fun.
And also, the reason why it's great that Trump did it is because he was top dog. If Joe Biden told us a story of going back and forth like that, and I said don't, and then they didn't, the story would play differently. He says don't, and they're like, we're going to, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Way.
He's not just a candidate. This actually happened.
Yes, this is real stuff. Let's talk more in the 2 o'clock hour. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? We'll be right back.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family. Together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
School has started for us in our house. Our kids go to a Lutheran school. I'm so grateful that I can turn them over to people who are going to provide them a top-notch education, and also in an environment where it's conducive to learning, it's conducive to understanding right and wrong, and into adding the idea of forgiveness into the idea of right and wrong. That's incredibly valuable. But the thing about Lutheran schools that I want you to understand is it's not like it's just for Lutherans. When I went to a Lutheran school myself, I went to school with Baptists, with non-denominational people, Catholics, Presbyterians. I went to school with people who didn't have a Christian faith or a church home at all. And the Lutheran school served all of them wonderfully. If you're looking for an excellent education and an alternative to public education or your current situation, it is not too late to go to lisastl.org/Annie. That's lisastl.org/Annie and consider what Lutheran schools can do for you or for your grandchildren. You'll be so glad you did. lisastl.org/Annie.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
This is Chad Klayman with KlaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy property as is. Do you have a property that is vacant? Maybe it's been sitting empty for years. Maybe it's been sitting empty for a month. Well, we're interested in buying vacant properties. If you have a property sitting vacant, you're at risk of damage. You're paying insurance. You're paying taxes while it is not being utilized. We are interested in making you an as-is cash offer, and we can close on your timeline. Please reach out, KLAMEN Group.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Extending the invitation. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. The owner of social media platform X posting he'd be happy to host Vice President Kamala Harris. The comments from Elon Musk come after his live stream conversation with former President Trump last night.
Former President Trump took questions from X founder Elon Musk for over 2 hours, discussing a range of topics on top of mind for voters, from inflation to immigration. Trump attacking Harris for promising to fix the border when she could fix it now as vice president, and for promising to lower prices and tackle inflation when she helped create the problem by pushing through trillions in new government spending.
Fox's Hillary Vaughn there. Vice President Harris appears cautious rolling out her platform as she aims to become the next president. On health care, Fox's Madison Allworth reports many are questioning if she'll stick to her previous push to end private insurance.
Vice President Kamala Harris has not yet outlined her official view for health care in this election, but we do have her past record and her 2019 presidential campaign to look at for clues. So Vice President Kamala Harris has been a vocal supporter of Medicare for All, co-sponsoring the bill with Senator Bernie Sanders when she was senator in 2017, and then campaigning on the platform in 2019. On the campaign trail, she called for the end to private insurance and more. Harris has advocated for Medicare for All with a 10-year phase-in period and allowing private insurers to continue if they operate with Medicare plans.
Harris has not granted a solo media interview since President Biden dropped his re-election bid. A new report shows inflation continues to ease. Fox's Edward Lawrence.
The Producer Price Index shows that inflation is coming down for businesses with the stuff that they buy. Now, what's overlooked in this report is that the last 2 months were revised up, but it does show a trend of slowly coming down for inflation.
Inflation is down from its 4-decade high back in 2022, but critics say remains stubbornly high. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly sunny skies, and I think temps should peak out at about 81 this afternoon. But let's keep an eye out for a couple of spotty thunderstorms. Tonight, lots of clouds, 70s for evening plans, 68 for the low. On Wednesday, morning showers and thunderstorms scattered about, otherwise partly sunny, and 83. 88 Thursday and Friday, and still a little bit on the unsettled side. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm embarrassed to say this,
I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code SHOWER and get 15% off your first purchase with code SHOWER, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER for 15% off your first purchase. With over 200,000 five-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free with Lumi's 60-day money-back guarantee. That's LUME deodorant.com, code SHOWER to save 15% today.
Digging without having your underground utilities marked is like driving with your eyes closed. It's dangerous and irresponsible. Before you break ground, contact Missouri 811 online or simply call 811 to request a utility locate 3 working days before starting. Missouri 811 will coordinate with the utility companies who will clearly mark their lines so you can avoid the hazards. Requesting a locate is smart and it's the law. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Save with summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get the tools and parts you need for your next brake job with Brake Best Select, Select Pro, and import direct brake pads and rotors now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here, and so are St. Louis's conservative thought leaders. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back. How much of this time, okay, news, we are, let's see, 80, I'm guessing 85. 84 days. 84 days until
I was going to
the
say
election.
84.
Do you have a countdown on your phone?
No, I just...
All right, genius. How long till Christmas?
88.
You think we're not going to get the results of the election until December 21st?
That's what I'm saying,
That's a frighteningly possible... That's probably... Look up when the Electoral College votes. It's like the week before Christmas.
That's exactly what I was referring to.
It is not. You forgot the Electoral College existed. That's not true.
I don't ever forget about the Electoral College. It's all I think about. Let's see. When do they vote?
I didn't know we were going to Google Live on the air. I was just hoping you'd jump back in with the answer, or somebody would. Every day, there is going to be a higher percentage of your mental headspace that the election is going to take up. Do you push back against that? I'm going to ask you questions while you're Googling, so you talk nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, because it does take up more and more space in my head, and it makes me mad that it does, because I've already decided who I'm voting for, and I don't want him to take up any more space. I get it already.
Are you more prepared to lose or more prepared to win?
What do you think?
I don't know.
I'm more prepared to win. You know that.
Well, that's what I would assume, but I don't want to be wrong.
Losing is not an option. Losers only think about losing.
Okay, so
And
I
I'm
am
tired of
totally
winning.
prepared to lose, and I will not know what to do with myself if Donald Trump wins.
Really?
Yes, he absolutely should win. I don't believe that we are headed towards a Trump loss, but I don't fully trust everything to go the way it's supposed to go for whatever reason. Read between the lines that you want to. I'm worried about how much these people in the system hate this man.
I understand that.
Take Jamie Raskin, for example, using the idea of January 6, 2021 to say, hey, you know what? You never know what could happen on January 6th of 2025. What the heck does that mean? Well, I know what that means. And I don't look at what is obvious and common sense right in front of me. And when I hear people talk about two things matter to them, border security and the economy and inflation. There is no way that those are the two main issues for voters in this country right now. And you're like, Kamala Harris is my girl. Like, there's no way that you're somebody who's going to participate in this election and you're going to be more afraid of Donald Trump than you are thinking, I'd really, really like to get back to where I'm not struggling. Or I'd really like to get back where I get to take the vacation that I want to. I don't know in what normal chain of events that Donald Trump doesn't win this election. And the more I feel confident that he should, the more I'm worried that he won't.
Yeah, I understand that. But there's some hope here. One of the things that makes me very hopeful, and it's weird to say this as a person who's in the media, is that the trust in the media is at an all-time low. It's in like the teens when they poll people. And it has never been that low. Even 10 years ago, it was in the 20s and 30s. Now it's in the teens. So people don't trust what they're being told. That's great news.
Is it jarring to you when you see like something that is Trump support out in the wild, when you're not watching TV, when you're not watching, if you're not in a place where you expect it? If you see something that's like pro-Trump, does it catch your attention?
Yes. Because it feels like, because of the media, everybody's on one side and you're the loner on the other side.
I'm glad you said that, Ryan, because you're exactly right. That is the way it feels. And that is the perception that they are counting on. And it takes an act of courage to display a message that goes against the forced assumption. So my son and his troublemaking MAGA hat, he'll like, I'll be like, come on guys, get in the car, it's time to go, blah 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 blah. We get in the car and he's sitting in the back, he's like, Mom, you like my hat? And I look back and he's wearing his hat and I'm like, yeah. So we went out to eat to a Mexican restaurant last Saturday evening, and we're leaving the restaurant and there's some outdoor seating. And this man, who I'm going to guess is 46 years old, big white guy, stands up and he looks at my son and he goes, so there's this like stucco partition where he was in the eating section and we were walking out of the parking lot to our car. And he stands up and he like makes a beeline to this half wall divider thing headed towards my son. And my son's just walking on the sidewalk and he goes, hey, come here. And I'm like 8 feet behind him. I go, you're not going to hurt him, are you? And he goes, and he just stuck his hand out and he was shaking my son's hand like crazy. He goes, he said some bad words. He was like, hell yeah.
But he said heck, right?
No.
Oh,
and
he said hell?
Then he was like, that's dang right. And I was like, eh. And I was thinking, I might have to jump in here. My husband was there. He's got Molly in his hands, and we're just like watching this guy aggressively stand up and come to the wall in pursuit of my son. And I said that, I go, "You're not going to hurt him, are you?" And he just starts aggressively shaking my son's hand. He goes, "I got one of those hats." And I said to the guy, I'm like, "You got to wear your hat. We got to do something." I'm not really a quiet person because I talk about this 15 hours a week, but I'm more quiet in my private life just because I don't want people to feel burdened by all of this that we're doing right here. But maybe I should reconsider that as well, because when you see it out, like if you see it out in the open, it captures your attention. You'll think about it for the rest of the day. You'll be like, "That was cool." You'll tell somebody about it. "Oh, I saw a guy in Walmart today wearing a Trump shirt." I was going to say Target, but probably not.
Nah, not in Target. You know what's funny? I've seen more teenagers in the last few months wearing Trump stuff or just kind of like Americana stuff, but really a lot of Trump stuff too, than I've ever seen before. Usually you see teens, if they're politically engaged at all, they're doing stuff that's like very anti-establishment. And guess what? That is what that is now.
Katie says on YouTube, walking into Sam's Club in Illinois, I saw a guy wearing a MAGA hat. I felt absolute joy. It's a great reminder that I'm not the only one supporting Trump. And the thing about that is that feeling of joy that you will truly have when you see somebody out there making that statement. You're not thinking to yourself when you see that hat, like, "I got to get a hat. I got to wear that too." You're just thinking inside going, "I'm not by myself."
Yep.
So the people who are comfortable enough with it, I think that the greatest thing you can do is wear a MAGA hat or do something that shows that you are not afraid to say that you support Donald Trump, but don't make your day be about it. Don't go through your day, like, don't be going through Sam's Club and, like, just walking up and down the aisles, tipping your hat to everybody to be like, "Am I right?" You can't do that, but you can go pick up your bag of pretzels at Sam's and walk around with your head held high and just buy your pretzels and leave. Because when you do that, you are literally going to cause people to tell people that they saw somebody who supported Donald Trump in Sam's is like, "What did we do?"
Costco's like, "You could walk around in here too."
Yeah, Costco's probably got him out front. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to move past what the left has so successfully put upon us, which is not that that they have better ideas. They don't even have to print their ideas as policies on their campaign websites because it doesn't matter. Their policy is that they're not Donald Trump. And their policy is that if you are for Donald Trump, you are a racist, you are a bigot, you hate people. Your very existence as a human being, if you support Donald Trump, should be in question. That's the way they feel. That's the way they make you feel. To them, it is the only thing that matters. It all revolves around Donald Trump, which is exactly how he likes it. And that can be frustrating too. But if you're standing up for support for Donald Trump, if you're willing to show that to people, they don't get to define what that means for you. Not only can you not see, like, they have the same standard. You can't even look at those people and assess a gender of somebody. Don't make them be in a position where if they see your hat that they automatically, well, that's a racist right here. I mean, the things we're not allowed to see and assume about other people, biologically speaking, and we won't wear a hat or a t-shirt or something that says, "I'm with him," then they win. The quieter that they keep us, the less they have to actually get to the point where they're actually talking about what they want to do. They literally don't believe they have to talk about what they're doing right now. And yes, I know she's been campaigning for 26 days. You think she hasn't been thinking about this moment from the first time? "Oh, we did it, Joe." She's been thinking about this for a while. She knows exactly what they're going to do. And the reason why she has the luxury of not having policies on her website for 27 days now that she has been running for office, the reason she doesn't have that luxury is because the left-leaning media, they're in on it. They're supporting her. They think it's a good idea. Don't define yourself. If you pick a policy, there are going to be people who don't like it. If you start putting policies on your website, do you have to put foreign policies on your website? Do you have to decide if you're going to back Israel? Do you have to decide if you want to free Palestine? Do you have to decide if you're supporting a arms embargo on Israel if you were to get elected? That's why she doesn't have policies on there, and nobody wants to ask her the question. Nobody wants to force her to answer because the answer is going to cause problems in the electorate. And they don't have to. Nobody's pressuring them to get on record with anything because we don't even have to have the conversation because the people who support Trump don't even want to have the conversation or invite the conversation. And I put myself at the front of that list. I'm hesitant to do it. You feel like if you put the MAGA hat on, that you're basically just walking around giving the bird to everybody who's around you. Isn't that what it feels like?
Yeah, it does. If you just put a hat or a shirt on or something like that, and I don't just mean a MAGA hat, I just mean a shirt in general. No, I'm just kidding. If you put a MAGA hat on, you know that you're stepping into like the public sphere. Instead of just, I'm going to make a run to the grocery store, I'm stepping out and I'm saying something to everyone who sees me.
And then when you wear that hat, find out how many people encounter you and wink at you, nod at you, say, love your hat, quietly as they pass by you, or just kind of nod or a smile. Count how many people say something to you about it versus how many people lose their stuff on you because you dared wear a red hat in their presence.
I wore, in 2022, going into the midterms, I wore a shirt from a random state Republican that was running in Illinois to Walmart because I wasn't thinking about it. I just put the shirt on because I was running an errand.
Was it Kevin Schmidt?
It was Jen Cordy.
Oh.
And I wore her shirt to Walmart, and I'm not kidding you. I got stopped by it was late. There wasn't anybody in there. Half of the people in the store stopped me and said, hey, I support her. No kidding. There are people out there who are willing. They're not wearing anything, but they're glad to see that you are.
Yeah, and if you saw, if you went into Walmart, or if you went into Ruler Foods, or wherever you do your grocery shopping, and you saw 2 people wearing Trump hats, would you think, I kind of want a Trump hat? I kind of want to wear it. You remember who was it that said, was it you that had talked to people who employed the Annie rule for mask wearing, or was that you? Somebody, I think it was you, said that some people stopped you and talked to you about it. But what I would do is I just quit wearing masks in the stores, but I would have one with me. And if people asked me to wear it, I would usually oblige at some point. But nobody ever asked me to wear it.
Yeah.
I was that a-hole walking around, in some people's minds, in the store, not wearing a mask. But yeah, I wasn't wearing a mask. Like, you want to ask me to wear it if you were officially from the store and I need something from that store, I wasn't going to cause a ruckus. I wasn't going to try to change Walmart's policy because they're not going to listen to me. But I was also going to make them make me for a while. And I would see people see me and pull their mask down to smile and take their mask off. Like, by the time I saw them in the next aisle, they weren't wearing their mask.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to, we have to be leaders on this. We're the people who are plugged in. We're the people who understand the policies, the difference, what's at stake in this election. We have to be leaders, and you can do this without saying a word. And if you wear the hat in public and someone says something ornery to you, all that we have discovered is that person is ornery. They don't know anything about you other than the fact that you don't think that Kamala Harris is the right solution for this country. And I'm sure if they wanted to have a conversation with you, you could tell them policy-based why without having to call her names or insult her. But the worst thing that could happen, the absolute worst thing that could happen to the Kamala Harris ticket is that people start feeling comfortable saying, I'm voting for Trump. The more, every person who does that, it's like Hydra. All of a sudden, they start popping out of everywhere. And it is the worst thing that could happen to them because they rely on our silence. So don't be quiet. You don't have to be loud and obnoxious. I wish I had a MAGA hat that I could put on right now.
Yeah, that'd be the perfect end of the video.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it's going to be this.
You point to your hat. What's that hat for? What does that M stand for?
I think it's a golf hat.
You don't know?
I got it at a golf store, so it's probably for
golfing.
golfing.
You bought a hat at a golf store and you don't even know what it means?
I think I always want to say Thomas Massey, but I know that is not the name brand.
Just make it be that.
It's something close to that,
It's
though.
from the Kentucky legislators' golf line. Oh, man. Let us know on the chat if you wear Trump stuff or if you've been nervous to wear Trump stuff.
Or if you know what this is.
Or log in and tell him who he's repping right now.
Please, because I really don't know.
Rep Tom Massey.
Thomas Massey. Oh, wow, I was right.
We'll be back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I wanna find the key to the sky and never come back again. I wanna wake my soul, climb the highest mountain. I wanna write my name in the clouds and never come back again.
STS-armory.com. I was browsing this website over the weekend. They have a beautiful new website at STS-armory.com. I appreciate the way they are forward with all of the different things that they offer through STS Armory. They're located in Pontoon Beach, and you can easily find them at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive. Very simple to get to, right off 270. But for gun owners and hopeful gun owners in the state of Illinois, this is the one-stop shop. They can help you get a FOID card or fix problems with your FOID card. They can help you get your conceal and carry done. They can help you renew your conceal and carry. And they can connect you with the firearms that you have been shopping for, along with accessories that you might need. I've bought all of the above there, including safes for my house of various sizes so that I know that I can securely have those firearms in my house at the ready, but outside of the hands of little fingers. It's incredibly important. They have children themselves. They know safety. They know the understanding of responsibility. They educate all ages in that very idea, and they are available to you as well. 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS. You can find them online at sts-armory.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for a free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Stream it on the Odyssey app. The easiest way to listen when you don't have a radio.
Your home for conservative talk.
The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk. This is The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back. Encourage you to check out the Annie Fry Show podcast. How many clips do you put up on the podcast every day?
9?
Wow.
Roughly,
Yeah.
something like that. It's always around there.
They can listen to 9 clips.
Yeah. And
the whole show.
Yeah, the whole show, or you can listen by hour if you just love 1 hour and you're like, I want to listen to that hour every day for some reason. That's there. And then there's I think every interview that you do becomes its own podcast if you just want to listen to one person. And then a lot of times it's one other random clip that was good, you know.
Hopefully.
The crap, I just X that out.
I was going to say, if we don't do anything good during the show, do
Yeah.
you just try to pick the best of, or do we just move on?
We just move on.
Good.
Yeah, like this segment, gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Toast. We don't even have to talk.
You'll never hear it again unless you get the full show.
You know, that's something that let's just take it out of there too. That's something, if you go to anniefryshow.com, that's their new website, and it all points back to your ability to listen to any type of podcast stuff that we do, that Ryan's talking about, that we do on the show. At anniefryshow.com, you can watch the show on YouTube, but you can scroll to the bottom, and there's a gigantic playlist here. And is this Warren Buffett wants to stop you from being poor? That's from today already.
Yeah, I've already got some stuff from the first hour.
You work really fast. Is that just because it was your segment?
It was because there was no interview in the 12 o'clock hour, so Wiggins America took the cake. And yes, to answer your question,
I forgot to tell you, the podcast is just the Ryan talking points in the whole show.
Yeah, it'll say like, great first hour, and then here's a bunch of quotes from Wiggins, like in the description. And are these great points?
It's the best of.
Yeah.
I created this website so that you can easily access stuff with the show. If you're looking for it, it's going to be on this website. And I know that podcasting, I feel like people don't dabble in podcasts. You either podcast or you don't. Is that right? Would you consider that to be?
Yes, but there are more and more people becoming podcasters.
Dabblers?
No, they're not dabbling. That's my point. You're right.
Jumped in.
They're jumping in. Yeah.
And if you listen to the player that is at anniefryshow.com, you have access to everything that you would end up having wherever you get your podcast from as well. So I encourage you to go to anniefryshow.com. And then we also have at the very top of the page a way to contact the show. And I can't stress enough how much people are asking John and Marcellus to contact the show.
I would love it.
Those 2 callers that we had that one day that were talking about being members of the Black community and wanting to explain to more people in their community why they are voting the way they are, and also some of the drawbacks, some things that maybe are making it harder for that to happen. John and Marcellus we have those, I believe, both calls on our YouTube shorts, so you can watch those as well. But people really want to hear them, and I want to have them in. And if they're interested in it, if you go to anniefryshow.com, you can, if you're listening, you can contact the show. If you know John and Marcellus, tag them in this. And then there's also the feedback portion of that website at anniefryshow.com. You can click that, and it's a quick form. You can give us your thoughts on the show. I don't know. One of the questions in the feedback thing is asking here, would you say the Annie Fry Show is positively or negatively unique or different from other competing audio? That's the thing. There are a billion different things you can listen to right now. And our challenge is to do it in a unique way. That doesn't mean that any other person's way of doing it is wrong. But if we're doing, I feel like conservative talk radio has a cadence to it. So you can kind of listen to, you could go city to city to city and listen to some smaller station talk radio format. I mean, we have had such a storied success with 97.1, 24 years in October, I think.
Yeah, it sounds right.
We're the legacy conservative talk station in St. Louis, but in those 2+ decades, the amount of options that you have for audio right now to be able to, you could just, I listen to Fox News and Sirius XM in my car from time to time. Like I can listen to that. That's an alternative. And we know that you have options. And so we always want to try to do something specifically on the show, because that's the only place I get to put my fingerprint specifically. We try to do things that are unique and different. And one of those things is we don't do that many interviews.
Comparatively, no. The other thing that's very interesting is that, and I drive around, we take road trips and stuff, and I like listen, especially if I'm alone, if I'm not with the family and I'm on a road trip, I'll listen to smaller market radio. And sometimes, you go through a big city, listen to what they've got. It is a lot of syndication. And the fact that we middays are a local show.
Still.
Yeah, but it's awesome. I mean, because it's becoming less and less common.
Syndicated is cheaper to operate.
Yep.
Because fortunately for the three of us in here, we all draw a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And, it might look glamorous from the outside looking in. We work hard. We get compensated for that. I mean, obviously we keep coming back to work, so we still need the next paycheck. But it can be easier to flip a midday show than a drive time show. I think with our show specifically, we have such great relationships with businesses that want to be a part of what we're doing, that we have been grateful to be able to partner with, that help keep us on the air and justify that we've got a great audience out there. But we always need to be looking for ways to be better. I think it's easy to get complacent, and I really am interested in getting better, probably to a fault.
Yeah. You try really hard to get better. I try really hard to keep us where we're at. And so it kind of balances out.
Yeah, you're just trying to talk about chemistry.
No, I'm not talking about chemistry as much as I am just sort of lethargy.
No.
I want to brag on the show a little bit, though. Like, it's because people are connected. Like, we're here because we're doing well. And I'm not going to get into, like, a lot of specifics, but we get numbers and things, and it's all thumbs up. Like, it's going well. So we appreciate that.
That's true. But that it's also very fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the feedback form. So here's something. I'll give you an example. And if you've ever wanted to influence what we do on the show or suggest something for the show, this feedback form, there's lots of opportunity for you to say whatever you want, and I will have to read it. The taking calls specifically is something that people say they really enjoy when we do take calls, and they would like to hear that more. And I'm not averse to taking phone calls at all. I've been a student of talk radio I've been employed in talk radio since August of 2006. And I did 3 years of sports talk radio before getting into news talk radio. I've been with 97.1 since February of 2009. So I have paid attention to a lot of talk radio. And when you open the phones for callers, it's pretty much the most important thing you can do, because it's how you connect to the people who really matter, and the people who really matter are you. But if you do it in a way that lets a few callers define the whole bunch of it, then I feel like it can be a detraction of the audience that is out there. Because for every one person who calls, there are literally thousands of people who aren't. So the difficult balance there is for me to make sure that I open the phone and have meaningful conversations for the whole, and not conversations that just satiate one person's soapbox, or that satiate like my own personal need to try to, like, punch them right back in the face. A good back and forth is always entertaining to listen to. I am pretty good at back and forth, but I don't want, like, the whole purpose of the show is not to be combative. I want, if you are very left, if you are very liberal, I want you to be able to listen to this show, to be able to participate in our live chat, to be able to weigh in, to be able to see what the other side thinks without wanting to pull your hair out by the time you're done. And various parts of the show might cause people to do that or less. Because if you're somebody who's on the left and you can handle listening to this because for whatever reasoning we're informative, and, I kind of use that word loosely, like informative about what we think or informative about what's actually happening in the world, but also, first and foremost, entertaining. If I can get people who are on the other side of the aisle to listen to that, I might be able to get people who are in the middle to listen to that. And I think that broadens the conversation. If you turn into a talk show and the talk show host is always talking about how stupid the other side is, I don't think that does anything for the cause. I don't think that makes more people want to listen. And I also think that it's kind of rare to be able to turn on a talk show and not have that default combative nature. So we try to do it differently. And taking calls is really the best example of how it can be the greatest, but there's a fine line from opening up the phones all the time to where it becomes self-serving either on the caller's part or maybe even my part.
And if you want to hear about how stupid liberals are, you can listen to Wiggins America.
Is that what you do? You just call them lunatics the entire time?
Yeah, and it's self-aggrandizing a lot, too.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
It's a good time.
Donald Trump called Kamala Harris a lunatic last night.
Oh, did he?
I want to know, what is the definition of a lunatic?
I'll tell you what. I know you're looking for that clip, but one of the things that he said last night...
No, just that mentally ill person.
It clicked for me. I was like, wow, that's really... And I don't know that he directly said this, but he said, Biden couldn't do interviews, can't do press conferences. Kamala can't do interviews, won't do press conferences. And what struck me was all he said was, she's actually worse than him. It's true.
Yeah.
He has Alzheimer's and can't do it because of that.
We suspect.
We think. She can't do it and is fine, but she still can't do it. That's incredible. That means that peak Biden is actually a lot better than peak Kamala Harris. And peak Kamala Harris is right now and she can't do it.
I always think about, when you see those clips of Senator Joe Biden, how he's definitely his own man. Like the way he presents himself. He has a lot of charisma and a lot of personality. I always wonder if he were at that point in his life, given the opportunity to get a glimpse, you're going to be the president one day. And then they show him the third year of his presidency. Like, would he be happy or not?
Phew, that's a good question. Because personally, you'd have to go, oh, this is terrible for me.
I would be embarrassed.
But at the same time, you've achieved your dreams, but you didn't achieve them really on your terms.
I would see myself and go, how did this happen? If that's the way, I don't think that his prior self would look at him now and be like, I'm in my best form. I don't think he would think that, but how would you think you got to that place? How would young Joe Biden believe that he rose finally to the position of president of the United States, seeing himself? Because nobody would be more critical about what that looks like. Can you imagine seeing your old feeble self as a young man right now?
It'd be really tough.
It'd be really hard.
Yeah.
And I just think about his aspirations to be the president of the United States are decades long. That to see how it finally came to be, I almost wonder if it's worth it for him personally.
Yeah. Even as a politician, I wonder if he, as a 1987 senator or whatever, would look at what he had done to the country, just one issue, just the border, let's just say immigration. If he would look at his own immigration policies and think, what have I done? Why would I have done that? Because he didn't believe that then. And I don't know
that he's changed on.
And I don't know that he really has a grasp of what he's done now either. That's the problem.
Maybe it's because he's not the one doing it.
Yeah.
One other thing about the calls, there's a comment here. It says the calls are curated. Everybody gets that, I believe. You guys can witness this. Mm. We open the phone lines. They usually fill up right away. Mm-hmm. If I open the phone lines before we go to a break, we usually get 2 or 3 over the break. And then when we come back and I say the numbers again, they fill up. And I don't leave many people hanging. I get to as many as I can. Sometimes there are time constraints or whatever. But we screen the calls to make sure that it's appropriate to put on the air and that the person has their faculties to be able to come on the air and make a quick point. And that the other thing is that they're on topic. Like when I open the phones on this show, I'm going to give you a very specific question that you're calling in about. It's not really like an open line thing where you can call in and talk about whatever you want. I find as a listener, those to be very disjointed, and usually it's a soapbox after soapbox after soapbox thing for people. And I want to keep it moving so that everybody can get in. But I'm not talking to people that have certain viewpoints on purpose. In fact, if you are opposite me, we have callers who call in regularly who are opposite of me, and we have fine conversations. So trying to do more of those open lines on Friday, or, a specific question that we pose to you, and Fridays and maybe Mondays, depending on how the guest list shapes up. That is something I have taken from that feedback form, that y'all want to hear more calls, and I am happy to oblige on that. So if you would be so kind, go to AnnieFryShow.com. It probably might take you 10 minutes to fill out that form, maybe faster. I mean, most of the stuff is like check a box and that's it. I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you don't love. And we just use that information to try to do the best possible show we can for you. Let's take a quick break. Let's answer this question ourselves when we come back. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? That's the YouTube live chat poll for today. Jackie says no. Gas is still 50% up. Food up. Illegal crossings up. We are less safe. There is more censoring. Election integrity is down. Wars are up. Coup is up. That's pretty detailed there. Sheepdog says no. Unless you run an NGO getting money for illegals, you're just hanging on. Woo! Paul says, my life is better post-Trump administration because the Biden administration more closely reflects my perspective culturally, monetarily, and climate science directives. There's more to that, but I guess it just went too long for the thing to cover it. Janine said, my husband and I are doing well because of choices we have made in the past, as well as a lot of hard work, but we would be doing amazing if Trump would have won the second term. Like retire early. If you put your retirement off because of the economy, that is something people are facing. Go vote. Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan are a phone call or a text message away, 314-324-4440. If you're looking at purchasing a home in the future, please, before you determine where you're going to get your mortgage loan from, just check with Stewie. I know a lot of times you'll get recommended a place that is familiar to the realtor, but you can go anywhere you want. And the Bagel Loan is only with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. You can Google the Bagel Loan to find out more about what they can do for you. But here's the deal. When you use the Bagel Loan to get your mortgage, you will pay nothing in closing costs. This is potentially thousands of dollars that stay in your pocket, can make you a more competitive buyer. The Bagel Loan can close in like less than 2 weeks as well. So if you're looking at being the most aggressive offer, the Bagel Loan is a great place to start. You can reach out to Stewie directly by calling or texting 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the Bagel Loan. Tell them Annie sent you, NMLS number 226715.
Renewal by Anderson's 1 month only sale is happening now. Save hundreds on every window and patio door with zero interest for 3 years. Call by August 31st. 314-720-9200.
The 2024 Feel the Love program is here, and nominations are now open. Every year, we receive stories of deserving neighbors who made a positive impact in your community. Your nominations help us return the favor by providing them with new life-changing heating or cooling systems. If you know a teacher, first responder, veteran, or hometown hero in need of healthy and comfortable air, nominate them today at feelthelove.com. That's feelthelove.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
It's almost the end of the show, but you have a little time to vote in today's YouTube live chat poll. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? Those are your two options. Type in Annie Fry in YouTube, and the poll will come up. So will the live stream. 2:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go. We had Trump and Elon last night and some fallout from that. Sports wagering and abortion make it to the ballot in Missouri. We got Carl Cannon, the Washington bureau chief from Real Clear Politics, joining us at 3:25. All that and more coming up.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
So the YouTube live chat poll for today, are you better off now than you were under Trump? Yes or no? I really like that last comment that we read, and I lost the name of it there, but the idea that you're not struggling to the point now where you can't make it compared to how well you could be doing right now, like you got to think of it as a trajectory. Do you feel like you've continued, you would hope that 4 years later you would be doing better exponentially by the year just because you're working in a job that you have grown in, that you're maybe getting a 3% raise in, and that you're maybe getting more opportunities in. And I think that she I think it was she had said, we had hoped to retire early. We're not out on the streets right now, but we're not able to do the things that we had hoped that we would do by now.
Yeah, she said because of good decisions in the past, the trajectory was that we'd grow like this. Now we're growing like this. It's still growing, but it's not the line graph has gone down a little bit, and that's unfortunate. To answer this question, I'm assuming we're going to do that here.
Yeah.
I am paying more for everything.
Everything.
Everybody's paying more for everything. So in that sense, I'm not doing better. But just like that listener, because I've invested in the right things at the right time, real estate, well, guess what? Nobody can buy a house because the price of real estate shot through the roof. If you invested in real estate at the right time, you're actually on paper at least doing better. So in a sense, I'm doing better because of that. But it's one of the only...
You're doing better in some ways because other people are doing worse.
Yeah, and that's terrible. Real estate is an inflation safe haven. A lot of people have run to that in the last few years. But if you didn't do it at the right time, you're stuck in the same boat as everybody else.
So is your answer yes or no?
My answer is actually yes.
Kurt says, in what way could I possibly be better off? I'd really like to know from anyone some concrete ways they think I should be better off. There's no conceivable way that I could be better off now. What do you think, Brad?
I can definitely say without a doubt that I am not better off now. One of the best example that I can give is under Trump, my wife and I were making enough money that we had enough money left at the end of the month that we could pay extra on our house. We were paying our house off early. We were on schedule to pay it off early. And then whenever you get rid of that debt, you've got a lot of financial freedoms. You can do a lot of investing and that sort of thing. I started here. I got a significant raise from starting here, and I've gotten raises since initially getting this job. So my salary's gone up. But I feel like I'm just treading water, and I may not even be treading water because I'm looking at like you said, Ryan, the price of everything has gone up. And not only that, because the price of everything has gone up, the amount of my raise hasn't kept up with the inflation. So we're not able to pay down our house now. We're not paying early on our house. We're paying our student loan debts. We're just kind of making the payments now. So we're not getting ahead. We're not on the street. But like Annie said, you don't want to just do okay. You want to get ahead, and by all metrics, I should be getting ahead because I got a better job with better pay and all of that other stuff. There's no doubt in my mind, too, that if I would still have my mowing business, that my mowing business would be under right now. It would have been out of business because of the cost of everything.
Or you'd be charging $100 a yard.
Yeah.
And people don't buy it because they
Yeah.
can't afford it either. And then, like
it's
you said,
it's really a luxury business. So, like, people can't afford to pay somebody to mow their own lawn, so they'll mow their own lawn.
Doug says, depends on the way you look at it. My salary is notably higher, but it's due to a new role, and it's offset by the increased cost of everything. So neither better nor worse off. And if you're 4 years into this and you haven't gotten anywhere, that's frustrating, especially when you can see things in place that are potentially hindering that progress. And, the thing I have to always remind myself about when I'm considering all of the elements that go into, like, oh, where am I in life? Am I giving it everything I have? Like, is what I'm getting out of life reflecting the effort I'm putting into it? And it takes a lot of effort right now to feel like you're getting out of it what you're putting in. When you look at the people making the decisions right now, they repeatedly tell you that if you look at Kamala Harris specifically, she's on record with this many, many, many times. She doesn't look at your success as something that should be left up to you to measure if it's enough. She sees you as one part of a collective. These are her words. She sees you as one part of a collective. And if you get too far ahead and somebody around you hasn't gotten up to par, that's a you problem. And if you elect her, she'll fix that problem. Now, one person in that equation might feel pretty good about that instance, while the other person is going, hey, why would you take from me what I've worked hard for, what I've earned, and just hand it over to somebody else? I mean, it's really that simple. And that is the promise of Kamala Harris. We're not even scratching the surface of the type of socialism-like economic policies that if Kamala Harris were queen, she would want to implement.
They already have. Credit score communism. We talked about it about a year ago. It's taking from people who've earned a good credit score and giving to people who've earned a bad credit score.
To make mortgages more accessible.
That is still in place today.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just the start.
That's exactly right.
Of what Kamala Harris would like to see implemented. Her choice for vice president encouraged neighbors to call and tell on other neighbors if they were getting out of the COVID lines that he had specifically drawn around their homes. He created a snitch line for Minnesotans to tell on each other in the event that they got out of line of the rules that he imposed upon them. And then he goes and stands in front of an audience and tells people like you and me to mind our damn business. J.D. Vance, please steal his line. Throw it in their face over and over and over again. It's ripe for the taking. We asked you on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, 335 votes. Holy smokes.
Nice.
That's high for us. 335 votes today. Are you better off now than you were under Trump? 87% of you said no. That's the message, Mr. Trump. That's the message, Senator Vance, that needs to be hit on every time you have the opportunity to speak to the people. They don't feel good about it right now. Then tell us the solutions. Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us about future. That's what we want. Mark Reardon on 97.1 next.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning. 1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Ruler Foods online at rulerfoods.com. Everybody's thinking about how to save money, and Ruler Foods is the thing you haven't tried yet. I won't get into why you haven't tried it yet because I don't know. I've been telling you for a while now. Go to Ruler Foods. I do. My husband does. And we save money. He went and did some, the big grocery shopping trip last week. And I knew he was going. And when I came home, I'm like, how'd you do? And he was like, it was great. And he started listing off all of these things, including a bagged salad, chopped salad that we love to get and have gotten other places before. He's like, they had them and they were 2 for whatever. I don't know. It was a good deal. When you go to Ruler Foods, you're going to save money, and that's just the bottom line. You're not going to sacrifice quality of products either. So if you are used to shopping at a different grocery store and you haven't given Ruler Foods the chance to save you money, please do yourself a favor and go give them that opportunity. Once you've gone through the store and you kind of get the lay of the land, you can go online as well and schedule a delivery. So those savings will be shipped directly to your doorstep. It's all online at rulerfoods.com.
Home values are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for 2 things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again,